5-hour countdown. How about a 9-month countdown to tonight in the SEC? The long-awaited opener of the 2007 season for Mississippi State. Their fans don't want to be bullied anymore by the heavyweights in this conference, but here comes number 2 LSU, reloaded and ready for a run at the national championship. The folks here will try to exercise their vocal cords and their cowbells, try to make a difference as the Bulldogs try to shake up the season on opening night. LSU and Mississippi State right now. Welcome to College Football Prime Time, presented by Applebee's. And in the 75th season of Southeastern Conference football, we've got a conference game to kick things off this year. It's LSU, ranked number 2, opening with a conference game for the first time in 16 seasons, visiting Davis-Wade Stadium in Starkville to take on Mississippi State. Hi, folks, and welcome to Starkville. I'm Chris Fowler as we begin another exciting year of Thursday Night Football. We know you share our enthusiasm for this time of year when everything is new and fresh and optimism is rampant and all the questions are unanswered and the slate is clean. And we sure have a great slate for you this season on Thursday night. You'll see national title contenders like LSU tonight, USC on Thanksgiving, West Virginia, Louisville, Virginia Tech. You'll see A&M at Miami. You'll see Florida State at Wake Forest, just to name a few games. Now, for many years, the mainstay on Thursday night, my partner has been Kirk Herbstreit. He worked with Mike Tirico for years, but this year Kirk's responsibilities are many, but they've been streamlined. He'll focus on College Game Day and on the ABC primetime game. So filling those big shoes, we brought in 2 superstars. The less heralded half of the Pony Express, Craig James, and the Miracle Man, Doug Flutie. These guys were teammates with the Patriots. You see them as teammates in the ABC studio with John Saunders. Great to join the Thursday night team, you guys.
It's awesome to be a part of this atmosphere on Thursday night.
I'm glad to be here. Glad your hair's still on your head. The hairline's gone a little different, though.
Oh, the busting begins already. Well, the question tonight, one of them is LSU. Now, they lost, of course, the top draft pick in the draft, Jamarcus Russell. 3 other first-round draft picks. Has never happened. A team that's lost all that has been ranked number 2 the following season. Are they really that reloaded, or are they a little bit overrated?
Not overrated at all. They are reloaded and ready to roll on defense especially. The only variable is the quarterback position. Matt Flynn filling in for Jamarcus Russell. The team believes in him. Even Glenn Dorsey, the nose guard. Glenn says defensive tackle loves him. Loves his confidence, his attitude, the whole bit. He's ready to roll.
And this coaching staff and team believe in their defense that's going to allow that offense with a new offensive coordinator and Gary Croton to kind of come together. So as long as you have Glenn Dorsey, one of the best defensive players in America, it's going to be a treat to watch him tonight. As long as you have him over there, Flynn's okay.
That deep is so fast and so nasty and so deep as well. Mississippi State, they know the challenge is monumental, but it's a tough uphill fight in the SEC. 9 wins in 3 years for Sylvester Croom is not really enough. He says it's no longer a time for excuses. They need to get it done.
You know, they showed improvement at the end of last year. Everyone is buying into Coach Croom's system. They believe they have an opportunity this year, and they can get over the top of that hurdle.
You know what, Doug? We've played in many games, and if you don't believe in yourself, you have no chance of winning the game. They had a follow-up from the end of the last season with the spring, with their summer conditioning, with their two-a-days. They had a great camp. They really believe they can compete in this football game. They don't know that they can win it, but they think they can compete. And that's what we want to see tonight. Are they able to compete with one of the best teams, certainly in this conference?
Well, their stated goal is to get to a bowl game this year. Can they shock the world to open the season? We begin to quench your thirst. A great season of Thursday football begins with the Bulldogs and the Tigers.
I would not be surprised, and I picked LSU to win a national title, but I would not be surprised if this game didn't go into the 4th quarter with Mississippi State right after them. I think LSU will win the ball game, but I think it'll be because of sheer talent at the end of the ball game. This is going to be a really tough football game for LSU to open.
Sylvester Croom talked about how it was a big opportunity. The Bulldogs have the chops to make it that much of an opportunity?
No, they don't. The only thing about upset alert, they may be upset about their pregame meal. That's the LSU football team. When you look at this football team from top to bottom, that's the reason why they're ranked number 2 in the country. On defense, they are loaded. They were stacked from the inside to the outside. Up front, you have Glenn Dorsey, Tyson Jackson in the middle, Ali Highsmith. All 3 linebackers returned from this team. And remember, they were one of the top defenses in the nation last year. Bo Pelini, their defensive coordinator, will have their players ready, their ears pinned back to try to shut down and shut out Mississippi State in the first game, to send a statement and a message to everyone else in the country.
I tried every way possible to figure out how Mississippi State can keep this close. They have 4 starters back in the offensive line. That's great. The bad news is they only averaged 2.9 yards per rush last year. So it's going to be difficult. The one saving grace Mississippi State has, the opening ball game. You never know. Crazy things happen in the opening ball game. There are more upsets this week than there will be the entire season combined.
Well, it's raining down there. They better pray for a torrential downpour to keep this game close, because there are just too many athletes on the other side of the ball. They're too deep, too experienced, Coach. When you look at the offensive side, Matt Flynn, a fifth-year senior.
I agree with you. But let's look at this. Coach Kroom, he got Shula fired. He got Ron Zook fired. He beat Florida. He beat Alabama. He comes up with a way to win somewhere along
you're
the
right.
line.
Lee Corsel's right. Upset alert for Les Miles in this game.
You're not suggesting. Amidst a den of cowbells, the hot breath of the dog faithful with the hint of the aroma from Little Dewey's wafting around their headgears, LSU makes its way onto Scott Field to take on Mississippi State. It is the Thursday night primetime game. Chris Fowler will have the call from Starkville.
Well, it's a great time of the season, isn't it? Optimism all over the place, great expectations at lots of programs, but especially at LSU, where the fans have noticed that the BCS championship game this season will be held just down the road in the Superdome. The guys in purple and gold are trying to continue what's been a golden era in LSU football, the best 7-year span ever. 70 wins, 5 bowl wins. Look at all those draft picks, but they do lose 4 first-round draft picks off last year's team, including, of course, Jamarcus Russell. So are they as good as number 2? Or are they a little bit overrated? We're going to begin to find out.
I don't think they're overrated at all. They've got all the pieces in place. The only real variable is the quarterback position. Matt Flynn at quarterback did have a great game in the Peach Bowl a couple years ago. The guys on this team believe in him. We're talking to Glenn Dorsey. He says he likes the look in his eye, the confidence coming over the ball. They believe in this guy.
But again, remember, this is a team that has a lot of players, but they have Matt Flynn, a new quarterback. They have Gary Croton, a new offensive coordinator now. So there are a lot of things that they want to work on. These games here early on for LSU are games where they want to stay healthy, but they have to get some rhythm going on offense. You know, it's going to be a little bit of a change out there on signal calling, wide receivers. So this is a building process for LSU.
It is in a big test next week at home against Virginia Tech. It's the first time they had a conference opening game of the season in 16 years. Now, Mississippi State, this is a tough opener for a team that is also optimistic. Sly Kroom has had just 9 wins in 3 years, but there's also some urgency around here. They've got to improve, guys, this year.
Yeah, buddy, this is a big one to start out with here, LSU, but these guys are not afraid of them. And Sly Kroom has said, look, bring it on, buddy. You know, it is what it is. We're ready to compete. And I think that's what I'm looking for in this ballgame tonight. I want to see if Kroom's boys have really come around, if they can compete with LSU.
Well, all the players have bought into his system and the way of doing things, and they believe in it, and they believe they're at that point now that they can compete in the SEC.
Yeah, their offense has really struggled. A tough assignment against perhaps one of the nation's best defenses in LSU. The Tiger faithful are here to see the number 2 team against the Bulldogs. Coming up.
All right, guys, looking forward to it. Did you notice Kroom has pulled out all the stops? Mississippi State in white at home, LSU in the bad luck purples. And maybe Corso was on to something. We'll see. That's coming up at the top of the hour.
Our team just left our meeting, and they're headed over to Columbus to get some rest. And I just got through talking to them about a couple of things. Tomorrow night is a great challenge for us. But as Winston Churchill said, great difficulties also provide great opportunities. So tomorrow, tomorrow provides our team with an opportunity to show that we are a team, that we've got one heartbeat, one spirit, one mind. Tomorrow provides our football team with a chance to show the pride that they have in this state, the pride that they have for these students, the pride that they have for our alumni as well. But Tomorrow night is going to be a great challenge, but I believe that our football team is comprised of a lot of men that are going to take full advantage of that opportunity. But now this is the other thing. Tomorrow provides some opportunities for you as well. Tomorrow provides an opportunity for the whole nation to see what Mississippi State means to every one of you and to our alumni all across the country.
First up this season, a team that lost 4 first-round draft picks, including number 1, but looks reloaded and ready for a run at the BCS championship game in their own backyard. Is LSU that good? Tonight is their first showcase and a conference game. At Mississippi State, there is genuine optimism built on last year's late push, but also urgency for respected coach Sly Croom. Improvement is needed. Excuses not tolerated. An SEC game on tap as Thursday begins to hydrate you for college football. Tigers and Bulldogs now. And welcome back to Starkville. The humidity hanging in the air, along with anticipation for the Bulldogs and the Tigers. It's been a drought down here. It was a rainy day, some thunderstorms. Thankfully, no rain right now. Let's go to the sideline. She's happy about that, Erin Andrews.
Certainly am. Well, Chris, Thursday Night Football had the pleasure of being in Starkville last year as Mississippi State kicked off their season, and their head coach, Sylvester Croom, admitted to us yesterday, last year he had to sell his team on confidence. This year, that's not the case. Mississippi State's players have told us the experience, the attitude, the work ethic, the psyche is night and day from where it was last year. Why? The players said Croom has finally weeded out the guys that don't want to be here, and the ones that are on the field tonight want to change this program. The word trust was thrown around. So much so that Mississippi State quarterback Mike Hennig said, we have so much trust for Sylvester Croom. The ones that don't have dads in Starkville, we call Croom our father.
They sure do, Aaron. It's been a quiet offseason, just the way you like it if you're a coach. LSU won the toss, deferred so. Josh Jasper will kick off. Remember the rule change this year. That end zone is 70 yards away. They'll kick it off from the 30, 5 yards further back. You'll see a lot less touchbacks and a lot more returns.
I think it changes the game considerably. We'll find a lot of return men that normally wouldn't be back there, but because they're so explosive, we'll see some big returns.
And there is Derek Pegues. He's the free safety for Mississippi State, a very good kick returner. LSU last year, not very good in this department. And now there's a lot more coaching involved in the kickoff coverage. You'll see better athletes than ever before. Well, Jasper does reach the goal line, but Pegues will get out to the 25. That's a victory for the coverage team. Well, let's meet the Mississippi State offense. It's Miss Mississippi. Taryn Fauché has the honors.
2006 and third runner-up to Miss America. We were this close to having a good season last year. We lost 4 games by just 3 points. But with a veteran offense led by center Royce Blackledge, we're sure to have more time to pass to those speedy receivers like Tony Burks and a lot more time to run for Anthony Dixon.
Thank you, Taryn. That offensive line will be under pressure. Mike Hennig is the quarterback. He throws on first down. He tries to get it to Anthony Dixon, their fine 240-pound running back. But Chevis Jackson, the corner, was right there. LSU fan, political pundit, talk show host James Carville has the Tigers lineups.
The defensive line will be anchored by Tyson Jackson and All-American Glenn Dorsey, who hails from Gonzales, Louisiana, 12 miles from my hometown of Carville, Louisiana. Our linebackers, Luke Sanders, Billy Beckwith, Allie Highsmith, and secondary is Chevis Jackson and Jonathan Zimmer.
And they'll give it off to Dixon on second down, fumbles the football, it rolls out of bounds. The Bulldogs will keep possession after a short gain. Craig Stelz was there to force the fumble of Dixon.
Watching pregame, the number one thing that came to my mind in this was, Doug, they've got to have speed. Mississippi State's got to adjust to the speed of LSU. Look at the defender coming back into the running lane.
I'll tell you what, that's the one thing Mississippi State can't have happen. Turnovers, penalties, mistakes. That's the stuff that Coach Croom has thought he has rectified.
Well, you find out against a defense this good under the bright lights, not under scrimmage. Arnell Stallworth joining Dixon in the backfield, 3rd and long for Hennig. They handled the pressure pretty well, but a miscommunication. He was looking for Brandon McCray, Curtis Taylor in coverage, and a 3-and-out for this Bulldog offense.
I'll tell you what, though, they did handle the pass rush in both instances. They picked up the rush, gave Hennick time to throw the football.
You're an optimist.
You got to be if you're Mississippi State tonight.
Blake McAdams, the junior, a 3-year starter at punter, will boot it to the dangerous early Doucette. The Tigers' proven wide receiver, also their punt returner. The snap is high, fielded by McAdams. And Doucette takes it at about his 31. Good coverage. So the Tigers take the field, and here's Mr. Carville to help you meet them.
Returning starters on the offensive line are Will Arnold, Sharon Black, Herman Johnson, center Brad Helms, running back Jacob Hester, at wide receiver the probable All-American Early Doucette, and at quarterback, replacing the #1 draft pick All-American Jamarcus Russell, is the very talented senior Matt Flynn.
James, he is talented, but he is unproven in pressure situations. So we'll begin to find out about the guy who takes over for Jamarcus Russell. I formation. That's Doucette in motion. And a pretty basic play for the first snap of the season for LSU. It's Hester up the middle. Here's Taryn with that Bulldog defense.
We had to replace 6 starters from our defense last year, but Titus Brown is one of the best defensive ends in the Southeastern Conference. You may just see Titus in LSU's backfield all night long. The linebackers are fast, led by Jamar Chaney, as is the secondary, where Derek Pegues is one of the best in the SEC.
They tried to upgrade the speed by shifting some guys to different positions this year. Almost a 5-yard gain for first carry, and this time Hester is clobbered in the backfield. Jamar Chaney, the middle backer, was there.
You know what a week of preparation. When you have Mississippi able to give you some footnotes on the football team that helps you out.
She knows what she's talking about. And those defensive ends are their primary players, or their go-to guys. The guys inside are the guys Mississippi State is worried about.
How will Flynn handle his 3rd and 8? As the Cowbells, which is supposedly outlawed in the SEC, very much in evidence. So much for rules. Swing fires complete into Mississippi State territory is Chris Mitchell.
First big test on 3rd down there, Chris. First big test. Flynn steps right up in the pocket, delivers on the in route. It was man-to-man coverage, great protection.
17 yards, they beat Anthony Johnson.
3rd and long. Mississippi State will not have that many opportunities tonight for LSU's offense to get off the field that quick.
You see how dominant LSU recruits the state. They lock up their home state like no team in college football. This is the veteran Hester up the middle for about 4. Jesse Bowman on the stop. Not a good sign that LSU is able to get interior runs for 4 or 5 yards on first down.
And it's against an 8-man front there. They brought the safety up in the front. There was an 8-man front, so you can't block everyone, and they still got.
There's a lot of cat and mouse and uncertainty taking place right now on both coaching staffs, trying to figure out during the offseason how these teams have changed.
You're seeing Jacob Hester, who's been mostly a fullback in his career, but is a solid runner, a veteran. Miles likes that aspect on the road. This time Flynn keeps it. He's an excellent runner, near first down yardage at the 36.
On the last time they ran this read play, he handed the ball off and maybe could have kept it. They come back to the read play. This time he keeps it and makes a nice little run.
That's the kind of Gary Croton offense.
And Croton said that Flynn runs a lot better than you think. This zone read is an excellent play. Some quarterbacks that we've seen, Vince Young really brought it on when Vince was so good, but he's just a freak of nature. And we see what Pat White does with it in West Virginia, and it's a great tool to have to really spread that defense out.
3rd and short. Flynn not the arm of Russell, but he's quicker for sure. Tight end Dixon in motion, but they hand it off to the veteran Hester, who plows for a first down. Quinn Johnson, the fullback, nice lead block.
Yeah, in short yardage situations and in first down situations, Mississippi State looks like they're really selling out to stop the run on first down there in short yardage. So there might be some play action coming on the first down.
Where do you take your first shot to Doucette?
right here.
You know, it was a passing game that led LSU to a 35-0 lead a year ago. 20 minutes into the game, Russell couldn't miss. To begin tonight on the ground. Esther again, this time very short game.
Gary Croton's trying to set up that Mississippi State defense. He's being very methodical, very patient. You see the trend that they have on offense right now. Pound the football, and that Doucette opening probably comes on play action.
And right here, as you enter the red area, this is the vulnerable area. This is where you hit the big play and go for the end zones.
Flynn fires over the middle, threw it into traffic. He was looking for Doucette, the man that he spent so much time this summer throwing to day after day. They acquired the nickname Salt and Pepper.
They're not the original, though.
No, I understand.
That Pony Express backfield had a little nickname.
I just wanted you to know, back 50 years ago.
Flying down the field in this half shirt.
Here's a chance now for this Bulldog defense on 3rd and 9. They're not in very comfortable field goal range for Colt David at this point. 9th play of the drive. Good protection. It's Doucette with a first down catch inside the 20. And a flag. A flag on the play. It's a 12-yard gain.
Beautiful timing on this pass. Doucette comes out of his break.
Dead ball. Ball start. Number 70. Offense. Penalty 5 yards. Previous spot. Still 3rd down.
And that's Black, the left tackle.
Little change of strategy on the defense that time. Instead of rushing 6 as they had on the last 3rd and long, Doug, they came out. They came with 4. Linebacker came up on a hug and dropped a lot into coverage.
It gives them the opportunity to double some receivers when you're still playing a man coverage with only a 4-man rush. It frees people up to help out.
We'll see on 3rd and 14 if they try to pitch it downfield to get the first down. An incompletion, and they're not really in field goal range. It's Doucette in the slot to the bottom of your screen. Brandon LaFell in motion. Flynn flushed. Fires downfield. Broken up. Keith Fitzhugh broke it up, intended for LaFell. Is there a flag? Looked to be a very marginal play, but they don't throw the flag.
They picked it up.
He had that left hand on his back just as he broke for the ball. I thought it was going to be picked off at first. When Flynn threw this ball, the closing speed on the play is excellent. Watch the left hand. Is it on his back? It's a great play on the ball.
Now, Fitzhugh kind of spun LaFell around. It depends on your perspective. I think got a little early.
I think it's a beautifully executed athletic play. Give it to him.
If you're a Bulldog.
So that false start cost him a first down, forces a punt. And Patrick Fisher boots it into the end zone. Not a very well executed attempt at a pooch. And that is a real break for the Bulldog defense, which stiffens. The underdogs get the ball back to the 20 when you come back to Starkville. Mississippi State, which had a disastrous start to their game in Baton Rouge a year ago. A little better. It's scoreless. Second possession for the Bulldogs at their 20. Play action. Hennig looks in the flats. It's a catch, but a loss. Eric Butler, their excellent tight end, dropped immediately by Allie Highsmith to find Backer.
When you talk about the LSU defense, it all starts up front on their defensive line. They are big, strong, very physical, and control the line of scrimmage, and it opens up the secondary to play well.
You know, and to offset that, they run a naked bootleg to get them going one way, bootleg out. That way the offensive line doesn't really have to block anybody, and it's a very safe call.
Butler can be a weapon in this offense, but in 3 previous games against the Tigers, a total of 1 catch, so they're all over number 88. 2nd and 11. Hennig again fires short, complete, but nothing after the catch. Lance Long, who comes into the game with a turf toe, clearly not 100%, but they're hoping they can get something out of him tonight, stopped by Curtis Taylor.
And it does show you the speed of this defense. 2 completions for 4 yards. They're right on top of the receivers, making the tackle, making the play so they don't get yards after the catch.
Well, they bring in Arnell Stallworth, their 3rd down back. You have to always be careful of that pass rush. There is nothing behind Hennig at quarterback in terms of experience depth here at Mississippi State. So they will hold their breath every time the pass rush comes.
Stay healthy.
over the middle, intercepted. A diving interception at midfield by Danny McCray. True freshman, first college game pick.
And it really all, again, starts up front. If you put pressure on the quarterback and make him throw the ball, this ball here, Henning had no idea where he was trying to throw the football.
There was a weak side blitz coming off the edge. Ollie Highsmith gets in there and lays a lick on him. The ball's, he has to pull the trigger. So he pulls the trigger, tries to force it in there, and the receiver stopped on him.
Talk about LSU reload, and they keep bringing talented guys like McCray into the fold. Tigers will have the ball at the state 45 when we come back. That character is Stephen Dill Lee. Students have been known to rub that statue for good luck if they're trying to pass a test. Get good grades.
You think the team rubbed it today coming into the stadium?
It's not luck. It's a little bit of self-destruction at this point. The turnover sets up LSU at the 45-yard line. But they need all the luck they can get tonight. You're right. Hester running through tackles, banging his way inside the 30. 16 yards for the senior.
It's amazing what a momentum shift turnovers are in a game.
Mississippi State wondered what type of offense Gary Croton, the new coordinator, would bring at them tonight. Right now, we're not seeing so much of the Croton wide open get after it. We're seeing a little bit of that old Les Miles, Oklahoma State down to my formation.
You see a blend of styles tonight. Hester, a very effective runner. He's a pretty good pass catcher, an excellent blocker, with an NFL future. Again, the keeper at the 25-yard line. Let's go to Reese Davis.
All right, Chris, as expected, the Steve Kragthorpe era off to a flying start at Louisville. Louisville taking on Murray State, and the Racers do have a touchdown when Anthony Allen goes in, put the Cardinals back up 14-7. Then Brian Braun with his second touchdown pass of the night to Gary Barnidge. Trust me, and Louisville is rolling over Murray State.
Not a real big test. We will see the Cardinals twice on Thursday at West Virginia and home against Rutgers. 5 yards by Flynn in the first. So this is Keelan Williams, the speedster, with his first carry of the night. Finds the quarter, gets a first down. Nice block by Doucette, but you see the quicks of Keelan Williams, the guy lit up the Irish defense in the Sugar Bowl.
And, you know, one of the more dependable players on Mississippi State's defense, backside 54, Titus Brown. He has to be the guy to stay at home. Brown comes hard inside, lost containment, plays over with.
This is basically a naked bootleg pitched to the back and leave the guy on block and go one-on-one with him, and the speed of LSU wins again.
And Williams is their speediest back. 100-yard game against Notre Dame in the big win. The game that really propelled LSU to a preseason ranking of number 2. Dixon, the tight end, in motion. Williams, little stutter step. Short gain, he's hammered at the 10. By Jamar Chaney. They'll rotate backs in. They like to use a committee. That's the preferred style here. So after Hester uses his physical style, here comes the quicker Williams.
And absolutely wears out a defense. When you have a running back by committee, guys who are unselfish get their 8, 9, 10 carries each. Boy, just pounds that defense. They've got to go full speed every play on defense.
Tailback is Williams on 2nd and 8. Doucette in motion. Play action. Pressure. Flynn fires incomplete. Coming on the backside was Titus Brown. He leveled Flynn. Not fooled by the fake.
You know, this is a true naked bootleg here. Great job by Titus staying home. He might still be in the pocket. What do you think about grounding on that? He might still be. No, the ball's past the line of scrimmage.
You're tough on quarterbacks.
Always.
Don't let that edit man in your head as a
there you go.
Get too
started. Great defensive play staying home.
Now Flynn just 1 for 4 for 16 yards to start his second career start. Third down, off the hands of Hester. Might have scored. Chaney, the linebacker, and once again, Kroom's defense stiffens.
May have scored, but I believe that's one of the hardest catches for any receiver to make, particularly a back out of the backfield. But what about the job they did defensively of plus 45, LSU gets the ball and they bow their neck.
They bow their neck, force the field goal attempt, and I'll tell you what, right there, you need a couple breaks like that. Okay, the ball's dropped. It was a difficult catch ball, a little bit on the back shoulder. They'll take all the breaks they can get.
Flynn is the holder for Colt David, who was 8 of 13 last year. Line drive kick, and LSU with a 27-yard field goal on the board, but that's a victory for Kroom's defense after the turnover set up LSU in state territory. Well, LSU in last year's meeting scored touchdowns each of the first 5 possessions. The good news is for Mississippi State, they're still hanging around midway through the first quarter despite the turnover there. The bad news is they've seen firsthand now the speed of LSU's defense in 07. How are they going to move the ball? What would you do?
I think you got to spread them out and get rid of the ball quickly. Get it out of your hand as a quarterback like they're trying to do. Pick them apart 4 to 6 yards at a pop.
Well, we know for sure that there's more to the playbook that Mississippi State has. And so Bo Pelini at LSU is very aware of that. So they're really studying right now. They're going to expect a lot of things to come their way. Mississippi State, while the defense is playing well, they better pull something off offensively.
Let's see if they can get a special teams play as Josh Jasper boots it. Big East takes it this time at the 8-yard line. Tries to muscle straight ahead, and he'll go to about the 27, and that's where Hennig and company will take over. A 30 and 30 update back to the studio in Reese. Reese, thanks. I'm impressed you got anything left in the tank after 25 hours. Here's Dixon, the power back. Hurdles a man, gets 3 hard-earned yards on the left side before Alexander stops him. Well, Saturday night, ESPN and ESPN2 team up to bring you 2 college football games featuring ranked SEC teams versus Big 12 visitors. Georgia gets Oklahoma State's fine offense between the hedges at 6:45 Eastern on ESPN2. The ESPN primetime game, Auburn against Kansas State at 7:45 Eastern. We'll talk much more about the SEC race as this one unfolds tonight. 2nd and 7 for Hennig. Play action. Nobody open, he flips it short, and it's caught by Christian Dupree. You see the closing speed of that defense. Just about a 3-yard gain.
Trying to run a screen, it gets snuffed out, he hang on the ball, and when you throw a screen late like that, a lot of times you have linemen downfield.
And one thing Kroom told us about Hennig, rolling to the left, he's not real athletic and natural with it, and he's concerned about it, particularly with a history of his shoulder problems, and he's had a couple of broken shoulders, so going left is not where Kroom wants him running.
Definitely not. 3 completions for Hennig, but for only 8 yards. They need 4 for the first down. And a nice catch by Stallworth. Good throw. First down near midfield.
That is the same throw that Flynn made on the other end that was on the back shoulder. This is the difficult catch for a running back, running flat. A very small margin of error for the quarterback, and he puts this ball right on the money out in front. Reach out and catch it and turn the corner.
He beat Highsmith, the athletic linebacker, for a 13-yard gain.
Stallworth comes in for Dixon in passing situations because of his hands out of the backfield, trying to use all the talent they have in the proper ways at Mississippi State.
First down of the evening for the Bulldogs. Dixon, the lone setback. A bunch of receivers on the right side. They're blockers for Dixon, who crosses midfield. 240 pounds. Sly says he's the real deal. Maybe not 4.4 speed, but plenty of power and quick enough for 240 pounds.
Well, Sly told us there are 3 different levels there. You know, you're really good, or you're great, or you're an elite player. He would be elite, Dixon would be, if he were in that 4.4 range. That's how good he is.
He's a sophomore, much improved over last year, and eager to prove how much he's grown as a player. Didn't play well against LSU, really came on late in the year. Had a big game against Alabama in that win, and he gets it again. You can see why he's so tough to bring down, the strength to run through arm tackles.
You know, 3 times in a row now, they've done an excellent job, Mississippi State, of blocking them up front and creating a hole for their strong back to put his shoulder down and run and pick up positive yards. 3 straight running plays, very well blocked.
The left guard, Anthony Strouder, is doing an excellent job inside on the All-American Glenn Dorsey. Man on man, no penetration, and that really good defensive line not stepping up right now at LSU.
Dixon had the fumble earlier, which went out of bounds, and you could see Steltz again trying to strip the football out of his hands.
That can be dangerous as a defender, Chris. I used to love it when they tried to do that because they forget to tackle you.
Now they get the first down. Throw on first down. Henning pressured, flushed, fires, and doesn't quite have the arm to get it there. Aaron, a good start for Dixon. He did dodge the bullet with that fumble, however.
Certainly is, and you mentioned how Anthony wasn't happy with the way he started things last year. He told me that Sylvester Croom really motivated him a lot last year by telling him in team meetings, you hit the line soft last year, boy. I need you to speed it up. Anthony says that's the one thing he's been concentrating on the most heading into this year, Chris.
Aaron didn't really know the offense at the beginning of last season. That held him back. It's not easy to learn the West Coast offense and the responsibilities for a running back, but he knows the offense now, and they can make full use of him. Tony Burks has been quiet so far, in motion on 2nd and 10. Dixon makes a cut. Nice downhill run of about 8.
I'll tell you what, strong downhill runs. He picked up a corner blitz on the last play. He's having a heck of a ball game so far.
So a nice drive by Mississippi State. They had the turnover, but LSU held to a field goal. Chris Fowler and Doug Flutie, Craig James and Aaron Andrews, the debut of our excellent Thursday night schedule. And the beginning to a long Labor Day weekend of college football. Glad you're with us in Starkville. And see if the home dogs can make something out of this drive, a crucial 3rd and 2 play. No Q-to-back. A little trick here. Direct snap. Dixon trying to turn the corner. Highsmith drags him down. Well, a wrinkle right there. No quarterback. Dixon takes it, and Highsmith still too quick for that.
We've been talking about Dixon as a running back. I always say you run with your eyes and your feet will follow. So follow the eyes of Dixon here. You see inside, there's no penetration. He's able to have downhill vision. Great job with his eyes. I'm telling you, this Mississippi State offensive line, Doug, is doing their job well.
They're handling, they're giving them an opportunity to make positive yards on every play. There's no unblocked people in the hole.
And they will go for it on 4th and 2. Well, they'll talk about it. You can hear the crowd. Their wishes were easy to understand.
I'd go for it. What the heck?
Well, it's a first crucial 4th down attempt of the season for Mississippi State when you come back. Well, Mississippi State in the middle of a drive that so far has totaled 37 yards. It's taken him in LSU territory, but now in the closing minutes of the first quarter with the rain falling, they're going to go for it on 4th and a long 2.
Watch for a sprint out.
Fumbled snap, and LSU will take over. It was a bad time for the hard rain to begin to fall.
Boy, they were running the sprint play to the left. 86 long was heading to the flat. They were going to get a first down on a pick play and fumble the snap.
I thought it all started when they came out of a TV break. They're in TV timeout. They get to the line of scrimmage early. They showed the formation. They had that sense of urgency, and the timing that they had as an edge went away from him. He just pulled out. Hitting comes out early.
Ball pops out on a 4th down, and that, you don't know whether it's the center short snapping it and reaching to get his block. Especially on a sprint play, it is difficult. The quarterback really needs to ride the center on a sprint out.
Tigers take over on downs now at their 39. Charles Scott. First look at him as the tailback behind Flynn. And we're in a change of possession. The play clock just 15 seconds out of a timeout. That's not in effect with this snap.
I know you recognize this formation. This is that old Nevada play. That pistol offense, no quarterback in front of the tailback deep.
A lot of folks using this, and this is Scott. Puts the head down, knife straight ahead for a short game. He's the sophomore. Part of that running back rotation. Look at the big guns coming out of that jersey.
Looks like you're ours, man. I'll tell you, you had a good offseason, Chris.
Don't start.
You show up at the meetings and you got some hammers.
The second career start for Matt Flynn. We talked about that Peach Bowl against a very complacent Miami team a couple of years ago. He had relief duty in the SEC championship game that year, a loss to Georgia. But this was a big moment for him tonight. Kind of a slow start. Now he's got to deal with the driving rain. 2nd and 5. There's a little option. Flynn gets into Bulldog territory and gets a first down.
We've seen a few quarterback runs. That's the second time we've seen the option. We've seen him pull the ball in the read play a couple. This guy's 230 pounds, Chris. He's big and strong, like you, big and strong and cut, and he can run.
Why you go ahead and accept it, Chris? You look good, man. You're all cut up this year.
He runs a 4.5. It's a little bit of a discrepancy there.
Last Thanksgiving, I saw someone high-stepping into the end zone.
Anybody can catch your passes and look good. This rain's going to be an issue here. It's really coming down. Flynn looks left, fires right, short. It's Doucette on the screen, but only about a yard gain. Nice job. Glanton was right there. Aaron, I thought they had outlawed the cowbells here. They seem to be fracturing the rules set down by the SEC.
Yeah, funny how that works, huh? Out front of the stadium here, there are signs everywhere that says simply if you bring your cowbells into the stadium, they will be confiscated. In 2002, the SEC conference, they said, look, if the opposing coach complains about it, the home team will be penalized. I've asked a few fans, and they said it's simple as just putting the cowbell in your back pocket. So I think Flutie and Craig have some of theirs upstairs. Have you heard them?
The back pocket, not much of a frisking job being done if that's all you have to do to get the cowbell in here.
I think Aaron's referring to, Doug, you and I having cowbells going off between our ears.
We're ready to roll. We're ready to roll.
I don't know if it was the noise or just a case of poor execution.
False start, number 82 on the offense. Penalty's 5 yards, previous spot, still second down.
That's the tight end Dixon. I promise you, when you get a false start, the cowbells will get louder and louder.
How about how physical State has been with LSU? They've matched them running the ball. I mean, LSU gashed them a couple of times, but haven't gotten it in the end zone, and they're playing physical football. Great tackle on that last wide receiver screen, which almost had an opportunity to bust, but they're hanging tough.
Well, their MO is to be a physical team. They've been a physical team. But how long can they hang with them? Can they hang with them for the full 4? Flynn takes a quick look downfield, cuts it up, and then dives inside the 45. They get some of the yards back on 2nd and long. Dominic Douglas on the stop. LSU last year, guys, was really known for fast starts, including the home game against Mississippi State. Those are incredible numbers. They didn't allow a point in the first quarter last year until the 6th game when the Gators scored late in the first quarter.
Well, they're following that MO defensively today, but offensively haven't been able to stick it in the end zone. If State can get this game into the 3rd, into the 4th quarter, I mean, they've turned it over twice so far, and it's only a 3-0 ball game.
This 3rd and 5 could be the last play of the first quarter. Flynn appears to be checking off. Charles Scott is the back. Hit as he throws, caught by Doucette, fighting forward. Where will they spot it? Will they give him the first down? And a flag comes out late on the tackle by Anthony Johnson. It appears they'll spot it inside the 39, which would be a first down. We'll check the flag. Doucette, the guy that Flynn will look for in clutch situations tonight, than just about every game.
Face mask, inadvertent face mask, number 11 on the defense. Penalty's 5 yards from the end of the run. We will have one on-time down for an accepted penalty at the end of the quarter.
So the first down, then the 5-yard penalty on Johnson, and there'll be an untimed play to finish off the first quarter.
I would say if I were coaching Mississippi State right now, they have to stay focused. It's not a 30-second game. It's not a 12-minute game. It's a 60-minute contest, fellas. And if you don't stay focused, you will get beat on a play.
And again, turnovers and penalties in crucial situations, not just crucial situations, anytime. You have to minimize that just to give yourself an opportunity to win or be in the game with a team like LSU.
You're the big underdog. All penalties and turnovers seem to be crucial. So on first down, a handoff and big hit. Busting through the line there. Jesse Bowman clogged it up. And then Damon Glanton, the safety, was there. So that is the final play of the first quarter. Not a dominant start for LSU. Sylvester Croom's underdogs hanging in there, but the Tigers on a march, up 3-0. And welcome back to the campus of Mississippi State. Both my partners here have kids in college. So here's a little insight. What's going on behind the scenes there? Do you really want to call the top bunk? There's not much headroom there. And this is the favorite activity on campus for the males, right?
All right, my daughter can stand on her top bunk. She's so short, she stands on her top bunk and still doesn't touch the ceiling.
Well, the folks came in full of hope and optimism for this season. What they've seen so far is their Bulldogs team hanging in. LSU's been in state territory all 3 possessions. Only have 3 points so far. Flynn pressured, trying to buy time, flips it incomplete, just close enough to Doucette to avoid the flag, and he got hit after the play by Dominic Douglas. Our Dr. Pepper SEC update is a look at the very competitive West Division. The standings a year ago, it was Mississippi State losing to Ole Miss in the finale to finish in the basement. LSU, of course, behind Arkansas. Later on, we'll have the predictions for this year's SEC race.
Oh, just our hunches, our feelings.
It's a prediction. You're on record.
Yeah,
in the SEC, when you say something preseason, you're on record. Yeah.
It's over with, right?
3rd down, and there again, not in field goal range at this point for Colt David. State has done well on these crucial 3rd downs so far tonight. Flynn again, quick look, takes off and tackled for a loss. Making the big play was Cortez McCraney, the backup tackle. They're aware of Flynn as a runner.
Okay, Flynn's been successful early on, and he's been able to have a little shake to him, and he's gotten away from the tackle. Now, what McCraney does here is he tackles through the legs of Flynn. Watch how he goes through him. He didn't let him shake that time.
Didn't let him get through there. I'll tell you what, Titus Brown, there was a lot of room because Titus Brown came way upfield, created a big seam, great tackle.
That right side of the offensive line for LSU, which is a question mark, converted defensive lineman, not dominant so far, and Patrick Fisher is in the punt, trying to angle it toward the corner, and once again boots it into the end zone. So Mississippi State just hanging around. LSU, of course, coming in here, blasting Notre Dame in the sugar. But when you beat Notre Dame in a bowl game, it tends to have a very positive effect on your ranking the next season, even though they lose Jamarcus Russell and 3 other first-rounders. They turn to Flynn, who beat Miami in that Peach Bowl we've talked about. But this is his first time. This is his time. He's had 4 years in the offense. He's a senior. He's got 1 year to show what he can do. And it's been a little bit of a slow start for that Tiger offense. Hennig and the Bulldogs at the 20. Dixon gets around Highsmith and muscles ahead. He's beating a very athletic linebacker in Ali Highsmith.
First play or two of the game, particularly the one where Dixon fumbled, I thought he was kind of timid. Now he's getting down the field, the juice is flowing, and the stiff arm and the strength. This is 240 pounds, keeping him off of him, but there's enough competitive speed to get to the corner.
But he still gets the couple extra yards even after the hit.
You know, Royce Blackledge told us he thought they could run the football. The O-lineman of this team wanted to come out and try to run the ball on LSU.
Oh, the O-lineman always tell their coach, run it, run it. They run it to Dixon, this time a very short gain on 1st down. Check it, it's Dupree spelling Dixon in there. And there's big Glenn Dorsey, passed up certain first-round NFL draft status to come back. Careful, Anthony, don't fall over while you're getting retaped. He's too valuable to injure while you're retaping him.
So now what do? Do you run a screen when he's sitting on the side getting retaped?
Well, Arnold Blackworth will come in. Good receiving back on 2nd and 8. You saw a glimpse of Dorsey, much more on the superstar defensive tackle for the Tigers tonight. Hennig, look left, now fires across the middle, off the hands of Highsmith, who had dropped into coverage. He was trying to force it in there to Aubrey Bell, but Highsmith dropped back.
I'll tell you what, he just locked in on one receiver, Hennig did, tried to force it in there. Highsmith dropped right into the passing lane. You got to hang on to this ball or go elsewhere. If he put it low inside, maybe he had a chance, but that's forcing the ball.
You're right, though. He did throw it behind him into a dangerous area. Lucky to get away with it. 3rd and 8. Oh, shovel pass! And Dorsey was right there to deliver the blow. Not fooled.
Dorsey said one of the things he's worked on this offseason is how to use his hands. Watch Dorsey, 72 with his hands. Gets him up, sheds the block, gets to the outside, finds the ball carrier, and brings him down.
Mike Brown, 77, the left tackle, needs to stay on that double team a little longer before going up on the linebacker.
Are you kidding me?
Dorsey, the preseason All-American, hampered by a shin injury most of last year, is healthy, and he is hungry this year. Blake McAdams to punt. The flag is down. And this punt, pretty short. Bounces will roll as Doucette lets it go to the 22. Now we'll check the flag.
You know, Sylvester Croom told us if we don't score, we're dead.
Those were his words.
If we can't score, we're dead. And because he didn't have a lot of confidence in his defense compared to his offense was his go-to.
Most teams are in bad shape if they can't score.
And I was messing with you about, staying on the double team with Dorsey. Dorsey's busted up a lot of double teams.
But it looked to me in that situation, he was in too big a hurry to try to go get his guy. And you've got to secure the line of scrimmage, stay on that double team as long as you can before coming up to the
Well,
back.
you and I, we have double teamed a lot of
Legal formation against the kicking team. Only 6 men on the line of scrimmage. 5-yard penalty, still 4th down.
All you O-linemen out there know. They know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I just listen to it in meetings.
Well, that nullifies a 45-yard punt by McAdams, one of those little mental mistakes, and now they'll back it up, and on a wet night, McAdams will have to boot it again as they'll snap it from the 27 this time.
Natural grass field, that was a nice roll. A little bit of wet field now because of the rain.
We'll see how much it costs him. Doucette, again, a dangerous returner. And this is a low, kind of ugly kick. Again, it's too short to be returned. Again, gets kind of a decent roll. Bulldogs were hopeful that may have touched one of the up men for the Tigers. They're lobbying for the ball, but no, they signal LSU football at the 36-yard line. Big old Glenn Dorsey and that LSU defense pitching a shutout so far, but a slow start for the O.
Welcome back to Starkville, where the number 2 team in the nation, LSU, leading Mississippi State 3-0. Glenn Dorsey for the Tigers, a beast on the field, checking in at 6'2", 303 pounds. But his size kind of bothered him when he was growing up and playing Pee-wee football, so much so that parents would complain. So they'd send him up to the press box, and he'd have to get on scales to prove his weight. Pretty soon, he'd have to play an age up because so many people were annoyed by it. That was something he had to deal with back in the days, Chris.
Aaron, one of those big guys that the opposing parents, they get on that scale, make sure he's legal in Pee-wee football.
I've coached Pee-wee football, and I've seen it before. Before the game, scales come out, commissioner comes out, parents, kid gets down.
He's probably in a rubber suit running laps, trying to drop 3 or 4 pounds just before he steps on the scale. I had to put weights in my pocket to make weight.
They don't care what he weighs here with that kind of quickness and athletic ability.
And the fact that he came back for another year.
A pre-snap flag needs to be on LSU. Hester was stopped for no gain in the first play of the possession. Handed to this Bulldog defense. They were embarrassed last year.
Ball start for 71 on the offense. Penalties 5 yards, still 2nd down.
It's Carnell Stewart. They were embarrassed last year, CJ, down in Baton Rouge, and they've stepped up tonight. They've rallied around the need for redemption.
Well, there are a lot of players on this team that have experience, but they were at maybe different positions, and it's taken Croom a while to get them in the right spots, and we're seeing that competitiveness now.
Flynn, again pressured. He'll be sacked. Kyle Love was there to help. Early pressure from Jimmy Holmes. More pressure from that defense, and Flynn has struggled in his 2nd career start.
I'll tell you what, they went to that 3-man line he was talking about, got to the quarterback.
Carnell Stewart is really getting worked over by Titus Brown, who has a lot of experience on the outside.
On 3rd and 17, Flynn again pressured. Again, he'll take off. He's got lots of room, and Flynn dives, but he's just short of the 1st down. You saw Derek McGee's headhunting there. Flynn might have given up the body to try to get that extra yard. But he got down, and he's short at the 45.
He has made more plays with his legs tonight than his arm, and he is definitely a better runner than Jamarcus Russell was. More agile, 230 pounds, tucks it and runs. I think you put your shoulder down and run over somebody.
He's had 7 runs. He's only had 3 pass completions. Now they're showing that they're going to go for it on 4th and 1 from the 45. Wow. Is it a bluff? Play clock runs out. They take a timeout just before the play clock expired. They were hoping to induce the false start for Mississippi State. Let's hold on here. Did they get the timeout before the flag came in? Flynn signaled for it. One of the officials, the side judge, signaled for timeout, but the flag came from another official.
I'd rather take...
Correction. We have a timeout called by LSU prior to the 25-second clock expiring. 4th down.
So they do spend the timeout. They don't get the 5-yard penalty. And Kroom's defense, the sack on 2nd down, key to that stop. They'll get the ball back. Now, these are some architecture students here at State trying to design something as a class project to fill some of the open space on campus.
Is that your building we drove by 4 times that you had never seen before every time?
Okay. Patrick Fisher. Eric Pegues driven back. He'll field it at the 8. And that's a very speedy coverage unit for LSU, which drops him immediately. And the Bulldogs will have bad field position as they take over down 3-0. And we check with Reese Davis.
All right, Chris, during the 25 hours of college football coverage, Martin May said the new Streams Cragthorpe offense. Watch Gary Barnage of Louisville. Brian Brom finds him for the 2nd time tonight. 42-10 on the U over Murray State in the 2nd quarter.
Now the Heisman campaign for Brian Brom begins. He's going to put up big stats against a lot of teams, not just Murray State. Louisville can stay unbeaten. He'll be very much in the hunt. Hennig, they got to be careful at the 10-yard line. They hand it to Dixon, and they're watching out for him now. That purple and gold defense. Highsmith on the tackle.
Highsmith showed some speed there, closing to the ball. It looked for a moment like they might get the corner, and Highsmith just closed the cushion there and made the tackle.
He's the cousin of Alonzo Highsmith, the former Miami Hurricane. He spent 7 years in the NFL. Originally signed with Miami. Couldn't get enrolled there. There's an academic issue. To a community college very briefly, then enrolled at LSU, and he has been a stud, a senior. 25th start of his career. Hennig will take a deep shot on 2nd and 10. They got one-on-one coverage, and it's an interception. Well, he was looking for Lance Long, but Jonathan Zenon, part of the best corner tandem in the SEC, there for his 7th career interception.
Corners are taught that once they know the route, when they read the route and they know where they're going, is to get hip to hip and run with that wide receiver. This ball should not have been thrown on the right side.
No, he never had a chance. The only chance he might have had was back shoulders. Zenon just got him in his hip pocket, with him all the way, turns and finds the football, rotates, makes the play on it. The only place is high and outside on that, and it's probably an incomplete pass at best.
2nd interception to go with Hennig, along with a fumbled snap on that 4th down play. Keep an eye on number 8 for LSU. He's in the backfield. Trindon Holiday, the fastest man in college football. He's 5'5", but he runs a 10.02 100 meters. And he's got it. Doesn't have a chance to show the speed as Keith Fitzhugh, the strong safety, a good job staying at home.
Yeah, he doesn't carry a lot of bricks in his pocket, that's for sure.
10.02, that's fast, fellas.
Yeah, but you know, he's got some shoulder-up pads out there right now, Chris.
Think he and Dorsey were on the same Pop Warner team?
That's fast. I mean, look at him.
Doug, you towel over
I know that feeling right there. You'd know that feeling.
You'd look down on that guy.
I like those guys in the huddle.
He will make an impact throughout this season. Took a kickoff back against Arkansas. He's very deep in the I formation on 2nd and 7. They get it to him. And look at the burst to get around the corner. It's a short game, but it could have been a loss.
Boy, it looked like he was almost ready to put his foot in the ground and just break it all the way back to the left at first. Stuttered his feet and still got the edge. Not for a lot of yards.
You like to get him in space, though, not running toward the boundary.
Yeah, if I have him in the backfield, I'm spreading out the offense a little bit more than this.
Titus Brown, 54. Mississippi State playing a heck of a game. It's taking 2 or 3 guys to contain him right now.
He's getting the better of Carnell Stewart, that new right tackle, isn't he? You see the wheels, though. Look forward to seeing Holiday make an impact this season. On 3rd and 6, here comes the noise. Flags down before the snap. We'll see if LSU is going to complain about those Cowboys. As Aaron said, they have the right to do so. It could be a penalty.
As a coach, you're not concerning. You need somebody else to worry about that and go address it, and maybe someone will at halftime.
Sort out the flag. LSU tonight's been driving just near field goal range, but not quite.
False start. Number 9 on the offense. Penalty stopped up the previous spot. Still 3rd down.
That was early Doucette, and it'll make it even 3rd and longer. This will be a lot of fun. ABC prime time Saturday, presented by Southwest Airlines. It's a big confrontation between the SEC, Tennessee visiting Cal. The Volunteers embarrassing the Bears on Rocky Top. Jumped out to a 35-0 lead. Redemption is what Tedford and that talented Bears offense wants Saturday night. 3rd and 11 now. Flynn. This time he has plenty of time. Steps up, fires, and Doucette a fingertip catch has a 1st down inside the 25. Nice catch.
It was great coverage on the play. There was a robber in the middle, a free defender hanging out waiting to help, and Doucette runs through the coverage all the way out the back door. Flynn has time to wait on him to clear the mess and gets it to him.
Yeah, what you'll notice that Mississippi State now has come with a spy robber on Flynn. Not bad coverage, just an outstanding throw, and a nice job of Flynn of stepping up into the pocket to buy the time.
Very good poise in the pocket.
Now, Flynn's only had 4 completions, 3 of them to Doucette as the salt and pepper tries to get things going tonight.
I like this timeout. Go over to the sidelines. Don't let them come up and have a big play on you right now. Your defense, just remind them where they are in this game.
Mississippi State has made a couple of clutch defensive stands, still just 3-0 against the number 2 team. Of course, Tennessee will be the underdogs out in Berkeley, and Eric Ainge, Doug, has that broken pinky on his throwing finger. Now, he's going to start. Is that going to be an issue in your mind as the next quarterback?
I really don't, unless he's thinking about it a lot, because you can numb that thing up. The only trouble is taking the snaps. The actual throwing action, that pinky doesn't touch the ball. So it shouldn't be that big of a factor unless he himself is thinking about it too much.
Jonathan Crompton is a pretty good backup for Tennessee. Nate Longshore, the quarterback for Cal, has, I think, the best receiving core in the country to work with, and there's some inexperience in the Tennessee secondary.
And you can know they're going to exploit that. They're going to try. Nate Longshore last year led an offense over 32 points a game, which led the Pac-10.
I think Les Miles is going to be watching that game because he made some comments about the Pac-10. He tried to downplay him afterward. They made it a booster event when he kind of questioned USC's schedule. So Pac-10 folks say, all right, let's see how Tennessee does that in our part of the country.
And this is the first game of the season. I believe right now LSU is really understanding what the pressure of being number 2 in the country is all about. All of the hype and the expectations leading up to this game, they're not in sync. This is not the number 2 team in the country right now.
But when you're ranked number 2, everyone else looks at you as a big game. It's huge. Mississippi State's been looking forward to this. They got a bullseye on their jerseys, LSU does, and Mississippi State's giving them their best shot.
1 field goal in the first 4 possessions. Stark contrast to the 35-0 start a year ago in Baton Rouge against the Bulldogs. Hester tries to run through tackles, gets a nice block downfield, and before he's shoved it about by Pegues, a big gainer on the left side. Sean Jordan, the fullback, and Jared Mitchell, the receiver. Nice blocks.
Tell you what, it looked like an 8-man front to me, and Gabe O'Neill came up and had an opportunity. Number 5 has an opportunity. Great block by the fullback.
Fall back in, make the play. You got to make the play. This is the difference between winning and losing. You know, you're back, you make the right move, but you don't finish the play as a defender.
Dwayne Bowe, first-round graphic, was such a great blocker. That's expected at LSU. You better be able to block if you want to get on the field as a receiver. They use a power formation. Can the Tigers punch it in? First and goal. It's Hester piled up. Good penetration by the center of that Bulldog defensive front. Jamon Hughes, the middle backer, was diving in there as well. Important series because the Bulldog offense has struggled. If they go down 10, the odds shift against them. I know it's early. If they can hold them to a field goal, keep it in one score, the morale will be a lot better. I know that.
Exactly. 6 points is a big difference from 10.
The speedster Holiday, top of your screen on second and goal as the rain comes again. Holiday. No chance to use that speed. They string it out again. Damon Glanton, the safety, was right there waiting for Holiday.
And they did. They strung it out. They kept playing leverage, push them wider, work them to the sideline. Never had a chance to go north and south with that speed. Big play here.
And it sure is on third and goal. LSU not able to get the ball closer to the goal line really in the first two plays.
Rain coming down hard. Little run blitz right here maybe.
Third down, quarterback run.
Four receivers. Hester in the backfield, playing in the shotgun. Looks left, fires for the end zone. For Doucette. Broken up, but a flag. Jasper O'Quinn was there, but he got in the face of Doucette, and the flag came quickly.
Doucette had a couple of strides on him. If the ball's laid to the corner of the end zone, he has a touchdown. It's not. I thought from this angle it was a great defensive play, but I'll wait to see a replay to make judgment on that.
Pass interference against the defense, number 23. The ball will be placed on the 2-yard line by rule, automatic first down.
Trailing, reads the route. O'Quinn, he hit body contact before the ball gets there.
Got there early.
Jasper O'Quinn, a junior college, highly touted corner. First year here. Didn't see many early Doucettes in junior college, I don't think. Trying to cover those guys one-on-one. So a first down for the Tigers. Hester muscling down, doesn't find the end zone. Avery Hannibal, the defensive end on the stop. Bulldog defense really got to find a way to dig deep. So far, they've kept LSU out of the end zone. Even though they've been put in a bad position by turnovers and their own penalties. On second and goal. Hester up. Hand off to Keelan Williams. And Keelan Williams falls forward for LSU's first touchdown of the season. Good job up front as Lyle hit the guard. Colt David on for the conversion. What a difference that interference penalty makes.
Got to find the ball in the air and get that head around and find it and make a play.
So a couple of interceptions have set up 10 points for the Bayou Bengals, who lead midway second quarter in Starkville 10-0.
One of the questions is the right offensive side of the line for LSU. Lyle hit, right guard 65. You're going to see the big man right here, how he comes around and he pulls and he finds 36, the linebacker, Jamin Hughes. Drive him in the end zone there. That's how you get there and score the football.
You see the kickoff, breaking a tackle and busting it out is Pegues. This is the first positive kickoff return under the new 30-yard kickoff rule, 31 yards. So pretty good field position for the Bulldogs, who are now in a 10-point hole as we check with Reese. See the Bearcats against Oregon State next Thursday night. This is Dixon. A flag flies as he stopped for a short gain. It's in the holding zone. Two flags, in fact.
This is a time where Mississippi State really has to step up offensively and stem this momentum.
And mistakes like that so costly. You don't want to put yourself in unfavorable down and distance situations against LSU. Already 2 interceptions for Hennig.
You know, last year in this game, he broke his collarbone. It was rebroken later in the year. It's something that he has to overcome mentally in this game and be able to step up, put it out of his mind. Here's the hit. He lands hard on that left shoulder. And I'll tell you what, he hasn't looked gun shy at all. And we were a little concerned. How would you like to be his parents sitting in the seats watching this and worrying about your son getting back out there after 2 broken collarbones?
Yeah, against the Gamecocks, he got a concussion on the very first offensive play of the season. A lot of the remainder of that game was cloudy. He does remember breaking the collarbone. Came back, was part of a victory at Alabama, which is big for a guy who grew up in Montgomery. But staying healthy with a true freshman backup essential for Hennig this year. Arnell Stallworth is the back, but they throw on 1st and long, short completion. Eric Riley, not much room to run after the catch. The very first hit on Hennig last year. And you know that Gamecock defense could deliver a blow. This is part of that shutout loss, which was so deflating because there were high expectations for the offense a year ago. And look at this. Welcome to 2006, helmet to helmet.
Oh, Doug, that's why you're glad to be up here, isn't it?
You know what? It was time to call it quits. Get me off that field.
Brinkley is a hitter for the Gamecocks. Hennig fires over the middle. This one is complete. Jason Hubbard, their backup tight end, beat his man down the field, and that was a nice throw, but again, a flag is down in the backfield for Mississippi State. Will the 27-yard gain stand? It's a personal foul against LSU, so yes, it will. And they can tack it on.
The window of opportunity was not big here. He steps right up and delivers a great throw, patience in the pocket. It's caught on a defensive lineman getting the hands up under, hands to the face on the D line. But I'll tell you what, Hennig did a great job sticking the ball in a tight window.
Well, Jason Husband did an awesome job.
Yeah, they got Dorsey. He's questioning the call, but they got him for putting a hand up in the face mask of the blocker.
But you see the concentration of Husband? Excellent job because the defender, Luke Sanders, 35, didn't turn around and never found the football.
They like to use the tight ends in this offense, and they've got a few good ones. Eric Butler, and that was Husband, the backup, making a play. They're set up at the LSU 43. Dixon, it's a flea flicker. Hennig has time, throws deep, looks for McCray in the end zone. LSU was not fooled, and Craig Steltz there for the interception. Well schooled. Steltz, the safety, came over to help out on coverage. Chevis Jackson, the corner, was also back there.
I'll tell you what, it's not a bad place to take a shot and run your trick play, trying to take that shot. But know when you have an opportunity and know when to throw it away. That's all he's probably telling him right now. His son, you really didn't have much of a chance here. Part of it is he's outrunning. He does have a step on the defender, but he's outrunning the arm of the quarterback.
Again, he did have a step. They hung the ball up there, right? And Steltz came over, had time to recover.
You can't throw the ball 80 yards on a line.
But you know what? You have a big play to take the first down, and then you come right back. We see offenses try it all the time. They just didn't execute the play.
You like the call?
Go for it.
Third interception for Hennig.
3-3-5 defense there. An extra defensive back in the game.
It's a design run for Flynn. A flag drops, about a 1-yard gain. Cheney has been active at middle linebacker there for the stop. Holding against the Bayou Bengals.
All right, let's go back and take a look here. He backing up here. Is there not contact? Absolutely. Pass interference. Blow to the head, ball's in the air.
You know, I was wondering why he didn't put his foot in the ground and at least go up and make an effort to go get the ball, and there's why. Boom, hand to the face. Still, he wasn't going to get to the ball.
He got pushed out of the way, Doug.
It's a penalty.
Do you think that's pass interference?
That is a penalty.
Okay, I agree.
Actually, it's not a penalty because it wasn't called, but it should have been.
Now, this penalty was called, and it sets up LSU at 1st and 20 after the hold. High formation, play action. Flynn has to step up. And he is going to be dropped near the goal line. Jimmy Holmes got him. Anthony Littlejohn helping to flush out, and what a start for this Bulldog defense.
An excellent time to change it up defensively with your strategy. You come with a 3-3-5 defense. You get an extra defensive guy in there. Only 3 defensive linemen, Doug. Take it away.
3 down creates tougher blocking schemes for the offense. When you're used to seeing 4 down linemen, a 3 down rolls a wrinkle into that. You've got 3-5. There's 5 linebacker positions. They may be defensive back numbers. They may be linebackers.
2nd and 28. You've got cowbell cacophony here in a very, very short gain.
In addition to having more speed on the field, it changes it up. It becomes really like a 3-4 look. You're seeing what it looks like is to have a nose, 2 tackles, and then you got your 4 linebackers. You have to adjust your calls offensively on that line.
Clock ticking down, 2.5 to play in this first half. Flynn, who struggled in this first half, needs to be careful near the goal line. Last thing LSU wants is a momentum-switching turnover right here. They play it safe. They hand it to the veteran Hester, who just runs it up to the 6-yard line, and they'll punt. Littlejohn, again, the linebacker. He's a backup, but he's been a stud tonight.
Boy, now that's why I'm glad that we get a chance to see the adjustment of going back to the way the game clock used to be run when you get late in the half, right? Clock stops on first downs. We're back to where you have a real legitimate chance at the end of a half.
Yeah, well, they'll spend a timeout here to prevent LSU from running down the clock before the punt. Maurice, thank you. All of us on College Game Day certainly looking forward to getting to Blacksburg on Saturday. Certainly very different kinds of emotions in this stadium here tonight, but the home folks are on their feet. The defenses play well. Now they're going to get good field position and try to get some points before halftime.
Inspired bunch of Bulldogs out there, and they're going to get the ball right back where they turned it over, so they didn't lose much out of the turnover.
Great strategic call by the coaching staff of Mississippi State, and it's given them itself a chance to get the ball back, put points on the board.
Now the offense owes a big thank you to the defense at halftime. Fisher gets it off. This is a good punt. Very high, and it drives Pegues back inside the 40. Able to slip a tackle, trying to pick his way, but LSU, an excellent job on coverage. And we talked about Mississippi State trying to build on the success last year. Did a good job playing some good teams tough, and were able to get the win in Alabama. They have built on that. This is a much, much better first half than last year's debacle down in Baton Rouge.
Well, Sly Kroom told us that Bear Bryant told him at Alabama when he played there, son, you got to go through the fire before you come out how you want to be. We asked him, all right, if this football field is 100 yards long and it's all on fire, where are you right now with it? And he said, well, right now we're in the red zone. We're almost out of the fire. He likes where he is.
And they'd like to get into the red zone on this drive. 1:43 for Hennick to work with. He'll take a shot downfield again. Intercepted. Throwing into traffic, and Curtis Taylor, the man who has huge shoes to fill. He's a first-year starter, replacing one of the great safeties ever in college football, Ron Landry, who was drafted number 6, and he's the 4th different LSU player to have a first-half interception. Is Hennig a little too eager, Doug?
I think he's just trying to stick it in a tight window here. There's really nowhere to put the ball. The safety's closing on it. There's a tight coverage underneath, so the ball gets thrown high, and it drops in the safety's lap. He couldn't have, there was nowhere to stick that ball. He's got to be more patient. 2-minute offense, you have plenty of time to go down the field. You don't need the big chunk.
4 takeaways for that LSU defense, all of them interceptions. There's Keelan Williams. He stopped at the 40. We'll see if LSU makes a strong effort to get the ball in the end zone. They don't appear to be moving with much urgency right now.
I think Gary Croton's made his mind up. Look, we don't want to make a mistake here and let them have a shot at something. Let's get to the locker room.
You don't try to cash in on the interception.
Well, I would. I mean,
they're going to cash in here. They're going to go after it.
Well,
they're being patient, though. They got plenty of time. They got a minute at the +40.
And they flip it to Doucette. Kind of a lateral pass. No room. He will get out of bounds to stop the clock. Tried to rip the ball out of his hands.
What do you think
before he
about
got
that,
the
Mr.
sideline.
Flutie? You know, one of those things happens. That's what I'm talking about. You don't want to let somebody who has no points in that's a safe pass. You have to admit that.
It was a conservative play call, no doubt. But you're on a plus 40. You've only got 10 points on the board. You've got 4 turnovers. You got to go after it and put these guys away.
But your offensive line just had it handed to them. Little woodshed job down here in the previous.
If you're a number 2 team in the country, you go score.
I'll agree with you there.
I thought Corso was conservative, Craig. You say sit on a 10-point lead right here?
No, this guy, they don't want to make a mistake and let Mississippi State score.
You got to trust your quarterback. He's been in the offense 4 years, even though he's a first-year starter. Flynn over the middle, has Doucette. Doucette has room, and he'll get down near the 20-yard line. Chased out by Zach Smith, the true freshman, but an 18-yard gain.
Again, a very conservative throw. He is being careful with the ball, Matt Flynn.
Got a good mismatch there, though.
Well, you know, Doucette is a big play guy. He can turn a 5-yard pass into a 40-yard play or a touchdown in an instant.
I think it's a mismatch when Doucette runs against anybody out there right now.
But especially a true freshman safety.
Now you go for the end zone.
Oh, okay, SMU.
Hey, you change hats quick in this game.
All right.
3 receivers to the left. Flynn took a peek to the right. He's flushed, and he'll fire over the head of Richard Dixon, the tight end. Flag is down in the backfield. Another holding call against LSU. They're having a hard time blocking those guys.
I'll tell you, he had to hang on to the football that time, though, so coverage in secondary was pretty good. I thought at the time he decided to pull the trigger, he was taking a chance.
Holding number 71 on the offense. Penalties 10 yards from the previous spot. Repeat, first down.
Titus Brown, 54 on the outside here. This has been a real challenge for the real inexperienced Carnell Stewart on the right side. Little holding, pushes him down, but you see where Titus Brown changed up his movement, went to the inside. Really impressive young man. Maybe wants to be a coach one day.
Flynn flips it short. It's caught. Terrence Tolliver breaks a tackle. Tolliver shaking down the sideline. Big East forked out of bounds. There is one of the newcomers, a big 6'4", only 185 pounds. He's got to fill out, but he is a very highly recruited receiver as they just keep bringing in blue chip weapons for this LSU offense.
We talked about coming into this that LSU has a great defense. They have all the tools in place. Flynn just has to manage the game, get the ball in his playmakers' hands, and those guys turn it into big plays for you. They got athletes on the field. There's still 20 seconds left in the half. Plenty of time to stick it in the end zone.
Well, no doubt they've got the end zone in mind right here. It's 2nd and 1. Hester in the backfield. Flynn thought about running, flips it short. It's complete down near the goal line. And a timeout with 12 seconds. Flynn thought about running, pulled back.
But again, Hester, the clock stopped. Rules are back to where they were. First down, right, Chris?
Yeah, this is a change way back to the 05 rules. Yeah.
So 1 timeout left, still leaves you an option to run the ball once here. You got maybe 2 pass plays and a run. You have the options to basically do anything you want offensively because you still have that timeout in your pocket.
You'll notice now when Flynn tucks the ball and moves outside the pocket, there's a spy man in the secondary at Mississippi State looking for him to run, forcing him to pull up and cross.
Well, we'll see what Croton's got called here. Such a huge swing moment in this game. Mississippi State's defense has played so well, been able to dodge 4 interceptions by Hennig so far, but a big difference in there between 13-0 and 17-0 at halftime with the way the Bulldog offense is struggling. Looking for a big year from Brandon Cox. They take on Kansas State. 1st and goal. Williams knifing toward the goal line. Stop short. 4 seconds to go in the half. There's that one running play. They could have the luxury of that final timeout, but it sets up an interesting call here.
Points.
I think the bottom line here is you're so close. You want to put them away and stick it in the end zone. And because there's 4 seconds, it's one play, and you can run anything you want in the playbook. You could run it again now.
Well, and here's the question, though. Do you kick the field goal, or are you trying to go for the touchdown? That's the same play they tried to use. The ball never crossed the goal line.
They got a good 3 yards there out of that. I mean, I'd have confidence. If I'm LSU,
You run the same play?
that we can stick that thing up in there and get in the end zone.
On the road, number 2 in the country.
Yeah, on the road. They don't know where they are. They're in there on the goal line, and you're 11 versus 11, and you're up front pounding it. It doesn't matter what the grass is underneath you.
Well, I think they feel pretty comfortable in how their defense is playing. They're going to get the ball to start the second half. And you know the offense is lobbying to go for it. And they'll get their wish.
This could be a big momentum play for Mississippi State.
You better stay at home on the outside with containment. How about a naked boot right here? Huh? Pull it and roll?
I'd go power football.
Williams is the setback. Tight end in motion. Keelan Williams gets it and scores. Touchdown number 2 for the sophomore tailback. And as the clock hits triple zeros in the first half, LSU does get that crucial touchdown.
The game could be so much closer, but we've said this from last year, looking at last year. They had so many opportunities to win some SEC games that slipped away because of the mistakes, because of the turnovers, or special teams. And here again, it's the turnovers.
Colt David on for the conversion. 52 out of 53 in his 2-year career. So that will do it. All 17 LSU points following Mississippi State interceptions, 4 of them frustrating for Sylvester Croom, who's with Aaron.
Well, Coach Mike Hennick, 4 interceptions. Why has he struggled in the first half?
Well, Aaron, the ball's sailing on him a little bit right now, and he's our quarterback, and we'll keep going with him. We'll go and adjust and come back out. Our guys are fighting hard. Our defense is playing extremely well. We're just not making plays in the passing game offense, but I think we'll be able to rectify that in the second half.
What's the most important adjustment you look to make here in the second half?
The main thing is I want to keep our defense playing. Our offense got to keep having confidence, even though we've made turnovers. Hey, we still got a half to play. We're going to go one play at a time.
Thanks, Coach.
They don't have an option because the backup for Hennig is a true freshman. It's a lot better than last year's halftime score, which was 35-3. It is 17-0 as we join Reese, Mark, and Lou for the Pontiac Performance halftime report.
Second half, in my opinion, has to be about the offensive line at LSU getting it together.
Now you can see the key thing, those 4 turnovers converted only into 17 points, but 5 of the 7 possessions LSU had into Mississippi State territory. And Doucette and the speedster Trendon Holiday back to return the kick of Adam Carlson. And with the new 30-yard kickoff, that's a good effort to the goal line for Holiday. Holiday, shifty runner, to go with 10 flat 100-meter speed, gets it out across the 27-yard line. Now we talk about Matt Flynn and the assertion by the coaches and many around the SEC guys that there wouldn't be a drop-off in quarterback play despite losing Russell, but he hasn't had a sterling first half, 8 for 13.
Well, because of the team he has surrounding him, that's all he really has to do. But if they want to get to where they want to get, he's got to be able to take control. And part of that is finding the offense here. Right now it's a combination of 2 offenses.
It's been a pretty limited offense. We haven't seen a lot. We've seen some quarterback option. We saw Matt Flynn really open up the defense with his legs.
But it has been a kind of an identity struggle right here between what Gary Croton used to call over the years at his many stops and what traditionally Les Miles wants to run. Esther's the single back, and Flynn fakes it to him. Little rollout, fires across the middle, and the catch is made by Doucette. Doucette forced out at the 37. Aaron?
Chris had a chance to speak with Les Miles coming out of the half. He thought Matt Flynn did, quote-unquote, a tremendous job in the first half. He said he knew it would take him a little bit to get in the groove, and he said that's what we saw. The key here for the second half, he just wants Flynn to simply settle in right now. He said, I don't want anything difficult, just calm down.
Okay, so high marks from the head coach, and that's what counts. Not what we think. He's been sacked twice. He's a ball carrier. He's toted it 8 times. Been an effective runner. And first down, this is Hester breaking tackles. moving forward to the 43. Essential for the Bulldogs to get the Tigers off the field in this first drive of the third quarter.
And I'd really be interested in Aaron's observation of that Mississippi State sideline. Aaron, see if they've got the same kind of motivation and enthusiasm over as they had in the first half.
I will. Before the half ended, when they were going inside, Mike Hennig obviously very, very upset. Several players like Anthony Dixon and Brown had to come over, actually grab him by the jersey and kind of get in his face a little bit. He looked very dejected, head down.
Now, the good news is he has not been knocked out as he was in last season's opener. 4 picks, that'll get you dejected. Flynn fires. Coming back to the ball once again is Doucette. Been really focusing in on the senior, the featured receiver, already a 7th catch.
Tell you what, that was a big-time throw on an out route, actually more like a comeback about that 15-yard area. That was a good, strong throw in tight coverage.
And Craig, what you were talking about, the underdogs hanging around, pretty resilient in the first half, despite the fact that those 4 turnovers set them back. But now they got to dig deep, even though they suspect it's going to be tough for their offense to get back in the game. They've got to not let it get any worse right here. First down at the 46. Brown still into it. Hester off the middle. Into the secondary. Down near the 30. And that power running game starting to take its toll. 15 yards before Chaney stopped him.
It does feel like LSU is settling in. I mean, Flynn looked very calm and relaxed in his first couple of throws, running the ball and gashing them. It seems like it's a relaxed atmosphere out there for him.
Well, now the offensive linemen at halftime have come out and they've got hat to hat. That 3-3-5 is vulnerable because you've taken out one big defensive lineman, and the O-line at LSU's figured out a hat on a hat.
I love it when you talk Southern football. Play action, a first down throw from Flynn, plenty of time. Now he's flushed. Got the speed to get the corner. Gets a block and gets down to the 10, and they are delivering blows, those LSU receivers. Brandon LaFell, at the end of that 21-yard gain, just blew up Big East, the safety.
You love when your receivers get blocks downfield for you, and watch this. Oh, God.
Excuse me, it was Zach Smith being welcomed there, not Big East. Boom.
Oh, well, you know what?
Look at the helmet.
That just earned every highlight we'll see leading into shows this year, because that is delivering the blow.
Zach, freshman out of Alabama, shaken up there. Did not look good the way his head snapped back on that replay. Toss to the end zone. Touchdown early, Doucette. He beat Johnson. Good job by Flynn to find single coverage, and now LSU in total control. Exactly what State did not need. What a night for Doucette. Again, no more Bo or Davis. He is the featured guy with some inexperienced receivers. As Smith still gets attention. His 8th catch and his first touchdown. And Colt David makes it 24-0. And once again, it was Flynn as a runner that set this up, and that big block on the young guy.
Matt Flynn really looked relaxed in this drive. He did it with his arm, he did it with his leg, he gets a great block, and he has a little touchdown pass. Made it look easy.
Yeah, he looks much more comfortable already here in the second half, and a great night for Doucette. Back in Starkville, Mississippi, our opening Thursday night game. Folks who made the journey, some 7,500 strong from Baton Rouge, enjoying LSU 24-0 lead. They take the second half kickoff and march it 73 yards in 6 plays. Short kickoff by Jasper. Fighting up near the 28-yard line is Big East. Our ESPNU All-State standings. A look at the preseason top 10. The points are interesting. If you'll notice, LSU is actually closer to number 1 USC than West Virginia is to LSU. So we feel like there's a huge consensus at the top for SC, but LSU is a very strong number 2. We're going to see the top 3 and 5 of the top 10 on Thursday nights this year.
Yeah, and next week when Virginia Tech at number 9 moves out to Baton Rouge to play them, you'll find out a whole lot more about both those football teams.
Sure will. We'll talk about that showdown in prime time next weekend as the second half unfolds. And right away, a mental error for that Bulldog offensive line in the first step. Butler a false start.
Dead ball. False start. Number 88, offense. Penalties 5 yards. Previous spot, still first down.
Guys, here's the thing for Kroom. It's looking grim right now. He knows his offense is struggling, but they want to build on this. Win or lose, he said this game's not going to define their season. This is not really a swing game for them. They got a long way to go. They just got to stay in there.
And he will be able to really convince them with that first half. This team knows they played a pretty darn close game in the first half, but they don't want to lose it in the second.
You heard what Aaron said about Hennig. How could he shake off those 4 interceptions? First and 15. They hand it off to Dixon, who cuts back. But it is tough to run laterally, and a ball comes loose. A flag as well. They say no fumble. Highsmith, Danny Beckwith, Barry Beckwith there, defending. Dixon down before the ball came out, they say, and let's check the flag.
Face mask, 5 yards against the defense. Number 7, penalties 5 yards from the previous spot. Repeat, first down.
It's on Highsmith.
It's a fortunate first down. The run was stuffed. We'll get the first down out of this. Hennig getting himself a block, and there's the face mask. But I think Mississippi...
Wait, what's he doing in there? The
he's mixing. He's looking for another collarbone. Come on now.
Whoa. You got to be kidding, Doug.
He's only broken twice. Let's go for a 3.
No, let's stay healthy, young man. He was in there mixing it up.
Hey, he gained 15 pounds in the offseason, didn't he?
Didn't show.
It really didn't show.
I don't know where he put the 15 pounds, but he's a pretty slight-looking guy, had a uniform. He tried for the tight end Butler. Again, coverage very good, and he's just got to manage his frustration.
I think so. I think they have to, Mississippi State has to forget about the scoreboard right now, try to find something positive. They came out with a run, throw the controlled passing game, forget about the score. Let's get something positive offensively.
And again, it's not an option for Kroom really to go to the backup because it's a true freshman, a talented true freshman in Wesley Carroll, but you're going to toss him out there against this defense. And it flips it short. Dupree makes the catch, but no yards after the catch. That's been the problem. Curtis Taylor, the safety, showing he's ready.
Mississippi State really did not want to be down as bad as they are now. Bo Pelini on defense, defensive coordinator, he's coming at you. He is a downfield coach. When he has somebody down, you're going to see corners, safeties, everybody's coming at the quarterback.
Pelini was in the Green Bay Packers staff at the same time as Sylvester Kroom. Lost to him in golf, he said. But he's getting the better of him tonight on the football field. 3rd and 11 for Hennig. And again, they came out of their stance before the snap. And it just gets tougher and tougher. Pre-snap penalties. What did he say to us?
False start. Number 75. 5-yard penalty. Repeat. 3rd down.
He said pre-snap penalties. You can't have those. Check. Can't have turnovers. They've had the 4 interceptions and can't have penalties. And they've had some costly penalties. Perhaps a controversial non-call on LSU, a flea flicker that resulted in interceptions. That break didn't go their way, but they've hurt themselves big time.
I've seen a couple of those pre-snap penalties right now. That's what infuriates Kroom. He's trying to get them to be smart and play hard.
3rd and 16. Fires downfield, looking and finding Tony Burks. First catch of the night with a deep threat for the Bulldogs. The big play guy who averaged more than 24 yards per catch last year. He'd been quiet, but he beat Zenon there.
At least something positive. He's not exactly open. He's putting the ball up for grabs, but he allows his big receiver to go make a play on the ball. Actually, Hennig was looking backside, didn't like it, turned, and just let it fly. And again, the big hit.
Ooh.
Boom.
Ooh,
that's
man.
borderline late. Yep.
That was Glenn Dorsey hitting him. It was a sandwich, and again, the guy had 2 broken collarbones last season. 45-yard gain. They're at the 33 now. Dixon. Nowhere to run. He'll lose yardage. Stelz, the safety, who had a pick and has had a big game. There for the stop. Reese Davis with a Boise State update. We'll see them in a few weeks on Thursday.
You will indeed, Chris. You'll see Ian Johnson, who led the nation in touchdowns last year with 25. And against Weber State, Ian already has a couple of touchdowns tonight, showing heels to the field, 35-0. They're still in the second quarter in Boise.
They're off and running already. Boise on the blue rug will be up there as Southern Mississippi comes calling. Second and long. Dixon in the backfield. A safe call. He tries to spin, but it's another loss. Aaron?
Fritz, you and I were here the very first time Mike Hennick broke his collarbone last season. The second time around, he said he started having thoughts, am I cut out for this? He said he leaned on everybody from Coach Kroom to his parents to his teammates. You guys mentioned he added the extra weight, started working out a bit, but then as he joked with his offensive lineman, he just said, hey, you got to help me out too, guys. Step it up.
He's been pressured a little bit, but he hasn't been sacked yet. I think the offensive line, considering the quality of the D-line's done a pretty good job.
I think he's had some time to throw the ball. He has taken some big hits, but he's also put the ball up for grabs when he's had pressure.
3rd and 16. Henning again fires, but a little bit of a miscommunication. Jamel Smith pretty well covered over there.
Ball's still sailing on him.
Yeah.
You know, we heard Kroom talk about that earlier. The ball's just sailing. That's just a comeback route. Timing, he had the pass protection.
It's the feeling, the pressure, wanting to get rid of the ball. He's taken some hits. He's rushing his feet just a touch. Sometimes he tried to really anticipate that throw. Ball's out early. It sails on him. He misses.
So they'll punt. Try to pin LSU deep. Blake McAdams punting to Doucette.
That guy normally gets it when he comes out.
Very high, short kick. Got a chance to down it. And they almost stumble into the end zone. Little conference, and they will spot it at the 1-yard line and inside the 1. So we'll visit with a coaching legend in the SEC, Van Chancellor. Case of split loyalties tonight. His paycheck comes from LSU, but he went to school here at Mississippi State. Starkville's known for ribs, but they got sushi here. They even got a little Kobe beef. Sushi on Maine. Unconventional searing method there. You like that?
I'll take a hamburger.
I like a moo cow cooked well with all the mad cow out of it.
Shades of Herb Street. Took him to a nice sushi place because he said he liked it, and he said, I only like California rolls last year. Now, a safe call, and ball spotted on the 1-yard line, and Flynn just leans out for about a yard. Well, pleased to be joined by a man who's had a very successful SEC coaching career in women's basketball. Van Chancellor, new coach of LSU. Let me ask you, Van, put you on the spot. SEC football, SEC women's basketball, which is stronger?
Right now, I got no doubt in my mind, women's basketball, because that's where I'm coaching, guys.
Well, your paycheck comes from LSU. You went to school here at Mississippi State. Where do the loyalties lie tonight?
Very, very easy. LSU's paying me. I'm for LSU. No question about it.
LSU doesn't need your support, though. This is a team under Sylvester Kroom. You can relate trying to build a program and build belief.
Yeah, that's one of the problems Mississippi State has right now, just thinking they can win. At LSU, they're ranked 2nd in the country. Coach Miles has done a great job. We believe we can win.
Oh, now it's we. Mississippi State's we?
No, LSU.
Oh, LSU. Okay.
Yeah.
There's a lot of we's in your life. I understand that. You told us you got a shot at the national championship in women's basketball.
Well, we got all our players returning, but you never know. Tennessee and Connecticut's pretty good, so we got to beat them. I'm excited about being at LSU, though. We got Sylvia Fowles, I think, is the best player in the country at this time.
She'll be a Player of the Year candidate. Van, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you, guys. Hope you have a great night.
3rd and 7. Flynn in the end zone is pressured, fires over the head of Doucette. Bitchie was trying to chase the ball down. Titus Brown close to a safety.
Sylvia Fowles better be good, Coach. She's 6'5". Imagine 6'5" on the ladies' court.
Titus Brown's only 6'3", but he's making plays tonight.
Absolutely. You know, Titus Brown, that is the leader of this football team. He's the guy that has fun on the practice field. He's a prankster, a jokester. He has to set the tone and the tempo for his ball club in the second half.
He's done it all night, and he again is in the quarterback's face and almost causes an interception because Flynn put that ball a little bit up for grabs. He put it in a safe spot, but he put it up for grabs.
Kroom knows his team this year must make a difference in the kicking game. The special teams were awful a year ago. You could sure use a big return from Pegues here, but LSU's coverage has been strong. Pegues at the 40. Tries to pick his way into LSU territory and ends up backpedaling a few yards. Trying to make that big play. They still have it at the 47 after the 7-yard return. 56-yard punt by Fisher.
And a hang time that was outstanding. Very good job punting the football. Mississippi State will learn one thing from this game as ball carriers. You cannot jitterbug LSU. There's too much speed.
And the returner and also the starting free safety, Pegues, in obvious pain. This is not a deep football team. They cannot afford injuries, and Pegues, a proven guy, the junior out of Batesville, Mississippi, all SEC second team a year ago. He'll be helped off an early Doucette, who's had a big night tonight. 8 catches, 72 yards, and that touchdown. Also heading up to be checked out in the LSU locker room.
Aaron, how's that sideline at Mississippi State? What kind of attitude do they have over there?
CJ, the temperature over here on the sideline, not to get any better, of course, with Pegues down, but as the offense was sitting over here, you know, several of the coaches walked by the receivers and said, guys, don't look so sad. Mike Hennig sat by himself the entire time. Nobody went over to say anything or even pat him on the helmet. The offensive line, a lot of confusion, a lot of talking back and forth. Heads are down. Guys are a little slumped over as they headed over the sidelines to get onto the field.
And Dixon, a short game. What about that, Doug, a quarterback sitting by himself? Should he be trying to rally the offense and hang in there?
You, as a quarterback, have been told this 1,000 times, you have to be bulletproof. You can throw 4 interceptions. Shoot, I'm going to throw 5. I'm going after it. It's the Brett Favre theory, or give me that ball, let me sling it. I'm going to make it happen for my team and lead the way.
His team certainly wants to believe in Hennig. He was very positive. He said, quote, it's going to be different this year around here, much more productive on offense. They were shut out in the opening a year ago. We were here on the Thursday by South Carolina. No points yet. Only 117 total yards. And Dixon, again, not much room. They tried to be a little bit conservative, perhaps, with those 4 interceptions for Hennig tonight, but it's tough to run on LSU. Fulmer and Ainge saying not a big factor. Doug, you agree?
I don't think it's going to be that big a factor. I want to see Deshaun Jackson returning kickoffs.
And Musburger for Curb Street, ABC primetime on Saturday. Hennig, this time he will fire. Incomplete. Looked on the near sidelines. He was trying to find Jamel Smith. And Hennig is down. He took a hit after the throw. Gets up, slight limp.
You know, he hung in the pocket, he took the blow, and he delivered a pretty darn nice pass.
He really did. It was a catchable ball, maybe a tough catch, but still a catchable ball thrown under pressure, taking a number of licks, and he's still hanging in there and being tough about it.
He'll limp off the field. Blake McAdams comes on to punt one more time. Jared Mitchell back. But again, the punt too short for a return. Bounces backwards, and LSU will take over at the 24-yard line. And trainers and coaches over there having a look at the left knee of Hennig. Here was the hit. And boy, hold your breath every time he takes a big hit. LSU takes over when we come back. Greg Schiano, 8 wins in 3 years at Rutgers to start his career. Virginia Tech showed patience in Frank Beamer. It paid off. Ditto for Wisconsin and Barry Alvarez. Bill McCartney, very slow start rebuilding there. Eventually won a piece of a national title. Ty Willingham, 21 wins, but that wasn't enough in 3 years at Notre Dame. And Walt Harris, replaced by Jim Harbaugh at Stanford. This is year 4 for Sylvester Croom. A total of 9 wins. Circumstances here a little bit closer to what McCartney inherited at Colorado, Schiano at Rutgers, and so on. Once again, Flynn is pressured, and the state defense is still playing.
That answers partially your question, Chris. This right here, 4 years ago, I was here. Oregon played against Mississippi State, and they were in the same type of scenario here, needing to turn things around. And they weren't playing late in the game. This football team out here now has heart and character. He's weeded out the guys, Doug, that he didn't want to have around.
He has. He ran off some guys that didn't want to be a part of this, didn't want to work hard enough. These are his guys. They believe in Kroom, and they're trying to get
the expectations at these two schools are a little different than Stanford and Mississippi State. You can see that Notre Dame and Alabama, they're expected to do a lot more. But they're still playing with fire. Still getting after it. Perhaps something to build on. It will get a whole lot easier. They take on another team from the state of Louisiana next week. It's Tulane on the road.
You have to remember, this is the number 2 team in the country right now, a team that has potentially the best defense in the country. But Mississippi State's defense is still out there plugging away, coming hard every down.
Getting a chance to see Richard Murphy, the freshman, rotate in. Tailback by committee for LSU. It's 3rd and 20. When fires short and almost intercepting it was Anthony Johnson. He jumped in front of Brandon LaFell. Maybe took his eyes off the ball toward the end zone. That's the play they needed.
But it's the series they needed. It's the series that really maybe props up the offensive line. Maybe gets Hennig out there to go and get after it. You know, this baby steps. It's building the program. It's the foundation. And to this point, I think, I don't know what y'all think about it. I think that Kroom would say that he doesn't like to lose, but it's been, so far, he's got a lot he can build off of.
The challenge is to consistently get better. They're getting better. They got better as the year went along last year. Today has looked much better than last year. Blocks to build on.
Fisher gets the punt off. It's Lance Long in it. Returner driven back to his 31. Trying to get the corner. And again, you're seeing the great speed of LSU special teams. There's some starters out there, and they're flying down the field and giving Mississippi State no chance for momentum-changing return.
Little homework today, eating lunch, to have a cheeseburger and some french fries, and asking the locals what they thought about Kroom. You know, is he on the hot seat? The reaction was, generally speaking, this. They don't care about this year. 2 wins, 3 wins, 4 wins. They're pretty practical when they look at the schedule that's in front of Mississippi State. But they said if we don't go to a bowl game next year, he'll be fired. That was kind of the general mood.
So they'll give him 2 more years, which will be 5. I think they do care about whether they win 2 or 3 games this year. They need more than that. Incomplete. Craig, Ed Orgeron going down there to Ole Miss is a very good recruiter. It's tougher and tougher for Kroom to get players out of this state away from Ole Miss. Recruiting is always an uphill fight in this league. I think just for the sake of that alone, and for the sake of the belief in rewarding some of these veterans who have bought in and worked hard, you got to try to get to 5 wins in this season.
Now you're talking realistically, right? You're practical. You're a big-time college football guy. You understand how difficult it is to win and compete in the SEC. This is not like a gimmick league where you can all of a sudden turn it around.
Play action there, headhunting now. Hennig just ducking underneath Al Woods. It's a big loss. Yeah, sure, it's tough. In other conferences, you can see teams do what Wake Forest did in the ACC, Northwestern to the Big Ten a few years ago. You can come from the bottom, leap up there, and make a big move and win the league. It's just not done in the SEC. It takes so much time.
Because of the size and the speed, the power. If you can't play strong on the line here, you can't compete in this league, and you can't do it with smoke and mirrors.
And it's every week. It's every week, every team. It's not like you're going to get 3 or 4 definite wins in your conference and then 3 or 4 tough ball games. It's every week.
And it certainly have to be a very tough assignment on opening night. 3rd and 21. Hennig throws to his right, fires over the middle, and it's interception number 5, the second of the night for Craig Stelz. Stelz has a blocker, weaves down the sideline, and he'll take it inside the 10. Still trying to make a play, but the long night continues. Hennig picked off for a 5th time.
The schedule, when you look at it, you know, it's daunting. It's the SEC, and you try to find places where they may have a chance to win. Next week will not be easy at Tulane. You know, they got to gear back up and get over there, and
that's a game they got to win, though.
They got to win this one. They got a chance to get Tennessee and Alabama at home.
When you look at that schedule, there's really no more than 4 that you say they've got a legitimate shot of winning and hoping to have a big upset to get 5 wins. To get to a bowl, how many wins? 6? They're not going to be there.
It's going to be upstairs now. He's got a defense that will take a lot from this game in a positive way. He has an offense that is just going to be demoralized.
Here's another look. Obviously, the very tough game at Morgantown. Alabama wants payback. They won in Tuscaloosa a year ago, but you're right. Where will the wins come from? There's a lot of urgency to try to get Tennessee here at home. You know how tough it is on the road in this league. Well, the LSU fans are singing na-na-na goodbye. So there's a lot of the home faithful who are vacating the end zone. They're in full voice in purple and gold down below us here. These guys know how to celebrate a win, and they expect to see not 5 or 6, but maybe 12 or 13 or 14 this year. And they pitch it out. Williams, as a flag flies, dropped for a loss. Fitzhugh and Johnson were there. It's a hold.
5 turnovers, 5 interceptions, turn the ball over on downs. The defense still coming up with tough plays. It's 24-0 off of 5 turnovers. 6.
It feels worse than the score, doesn't it? If you really are thinking about the interceptions and all the mistakes and the lack of offense.
If LSU was moving the football.
You're talking about 255 yards of offense at this point for LSU to 106 for Mississippi State.
You know, a game like today, we would have expected, I'm sure, LSU to be up over 400 yards.
Well, the points have come off of turnovers. They'll try to cash in another one here. It's 2nd and goal. The ball back at the 12-yard line. Charles Scott in the I formation. Play action, Flynn fires it underneath, caught, and scampering into the end zone is Charles Scott. See another flag on the play as the band plays on.
The ball was caught behind the line, therefore we have no penalty for ineligibles downfield. Touchdown stands.
So Charles Scott's touchdown stands.
What an outstanding play and the execution that they had. Look at here, right here. Watch what they do from the inside, the play action. Watch the selling of the fullback on the lead block, gets to the outside. The tailback just gets back to the middle, and an outstanding job of execution.
It's a common play that is run off of your power look offensively when you're running the football. It's a little play action where the fullback usually bluffs and goes to the flat. And you've run that play a number of times, and now all of a sudden the tailback slips in and runs a screen off that look.
The fullback, by him going hard, it makes that linebacker come up in the hole thinking it might be a run, and that allows the fake to really develop.
Officials consultation before the extra point. Colt David trying to make it 31-0. As the pattern continues, LSU converts an interception into a touchdown after a slow start. Given the short field, the LSU offense had a pretty good second half.
And the points are coming in a hurry now.
Yes, they are. Optimism just a few hours ago. They can look ahead to easier opponents to deal with here for the Bulldogs as we go back to Reese for a 30 and 30 update. Reese, thank you. Len Dorsey and LSU still pitching a shutout. Here's our Under Armour advantage. A big 300-pounder who should be taken very early in the NFL draft in April. Wants to stay healthy for sure, but wants to have a huge season. He says he's even got a lot to learn from last year.
You asked him about that.
Yeah.
Was he worried about coming back and the injury factor? And he said, you know, not really. I'm working on using my hands to try to figure out where cut blocks are coming from, keep people off of me.
He also said that he was a little banged up at the end of last year. When he tests for the NFL scouts, he wants to be 100% put on a show for him and guarantee one of those top spots.
He said he wanted to be in a position of power, he called it, meaning the shin that he had last year, the fracture, unable to really work out, really hurt him as he was preparing for the Sugar Bowl, those practices on artificial turf. And, of course, he is a candidate for a whole bunch of hard work. He did say the Heisman goes to the pretty boys, Doug. He said he's not really a Heisman candidate.
I'll tell you what, he can dictate, though. He could be a Heisman candidate.
And they never seem to look at defensive guys. The voters, Warren Sapp made the finalists list in New York one year.
Yeah, and we were there, and I tried to give him the deal so he could run out of the downtown athletic club with it. But Dorsey is a great player with a lot of character, and him coming back lifted him up big time in the offseason.
Come on, he is pretty. Look at him. His nickname's Putt. Come on. He can be pretty. Defensive tackles can be pretty.
His grandmother gave him the nickname Putt because there was a commercial on TV for putt golf, and he would always get up and run around whenever they came on. So,
see, the helmet
named him Putt.
The helmet went on too early. Got to show that face to the camera a little more.
He's on the sidelines as Mississippi State takes over. Hennig back under center, steps up. Look out, young man. Able to protect the football. They were coming after it. He gets down. Tyson Jackson, the speedy DN, on the stop. And once again, Hennig coming up limping a little bit. He's trying to play through the pain.
I think he's had that from that last hit when he threw the football. One thing we haven't talked about is the LSU special teams. That kickoff, their kickoff coverage and their punt coverage has been spectacular today.
Especially on kickoffs, you were taught to accelerate as you're coming into the blow and the block. Don't slow down and catch. And with their team speed and the way they run, they get down on kicks, and special teams should be a real asset to them.
Boy, Hennig really cannot move around very well at all. And again, the true freshman Wesley Carroll is his backup there, leaving number 7 in there, even though he's clearly not moving around that well. Lays the throw out. Nice catch on the sidelines by Jamel Smith. He's up across the 45, 12-yard gain.
Not that you want to get banged up, but sometimes when you do, if it's a minor injury, it slows the game down for you. Things come into focus. All of a sudden you realize, I'm not going to be quite full speed. I got to make the better decision. And sometimes it makes you think a little clearer.
Wesley Carroll, a tremendous high school career, St. Thomas Aquinas in South Florida, but as much as he knows about this offense, and he's very advanced for a true freshman, it's a tough spot here against this defense. And Hennig will take another blow. He ducked down Harry Riley, the backup Buck backer, and Danny McCray, who had the pick earlier, the sophomore, pressuring.
At some point, if you're Mississippi State, you got to think about next week and the rest of the season.
That's my point.
He's got a nick. We need to win some ball games. We need him healthy for next week.
I'll take the other side on that. I believe that right now he's out there with an offense that has no identity for this season, and this season is on them. They don't have the luxury of hanging around. He's got to be out there and perform. He has to make throws like he just did on the previous play.
He's going to be dodging big guys who hit hard
for a whole another quarter.
22 of this game, though. 2nd and 18. Hennig has plenty of time, but again fires into coverage. He was looking for Burks, and Stouts was there looking for the hat trick of interceptions tonight.
Sometimes you got to realize you don't have to throw the ball. If the guy's not open, throw it away, eat it, whatever. You don't have to put it up.
He just ate it in the last play.
Yeah, he did.
On 2nd and 18.
If we're his dad, we may not think about eating the ball. We get rid of it, throw it down the field.
Row E, baby, up in the stands. There's some nice hedges over here to catch the ball.
He's got a lot of yard work on his arms and helmet, doesn't he?
Hennig last year, 44% passer. In the West Coast offense, Sly Crim says he needs 60% to really make it work. Hennig under 50% tonight. He'll use the timeout just before the end of the third quarter.
And kind of a disturbing trend is even through the scrimmages this year, he's been at 40-ish percent, 44%. So you really have to improve those. I think it's just rhythm and timing.
It looks to me like he locks in a little bit on one guy. When he makes that decision, he'll probably make a good pre-snap read, go to an area, and then he's hanging in there and he wants to deliver that ball. And the thing is, you don't always have to throw it. You can throw it away, come down to the check down.
Opening statement for LSU, the Applebee's weekend menu. See what the Bears can do with Cal wanting badly to pay back Tennessee. Bears were overwhelmed by the noise and the atmosphere and the speed of the Volunteers in Knoxville a year ago. Virginia Tech will host East Carolina, a team that under Skip Holtz did go to a bowl last year, but the big underdogs against a Hokie team that will certainly be inspired. College Game Day will come on the air at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, and Auburn gets K-State. It's Georgia, Hokie State. SEC versus Big 12. Hennig takes a blow after the throw downfield and once again throws into traffic. Aubrey Bell this time able to draw a flag. There were 3 Tigers down there surrounding him. Don't know that interference was necessary if that was the call.
That rolling to the left that we mentioned where Hennig is really not that athletic when he gets to the left side.
Pass interference, number 4 on the defense. Penalty's 15 yards from the previous spot. Also, that was the last time of this quarter. On an accepted penalty, we will extend the quarter 1 untimed down.
They got Eugene, the freshman, the 4th corner for Les Miles. So another untimed down. We've had 2 untimed downs tonight.
Well, they're trying to get back all the plays they lost last season.
All right.
Looks like a landscape man.
It looks like all those little pellets from the field.
They showed the replay, and the LSU crowd booed. I mean, they didn't see the interference, but they're a little bit biased. So the untimed down, a first down, the Tigers 48. It's a screen to Stallworth. Nice block. Plenty of room for Stallworth, who accelerates down inside the 30. Good use of the untimed down in the final play of the 3rd quarter. Hawkins there with the stop. 5 takeaways, 24 points, LSU. And it is 31-0. Is this the number 2 team in the country? They look pretty good so far, but then they've gotten a lot of help from the home team. This ESPN broadcast being presented by Pioneer Kuro HD TV. 16 years since LSU has opened their season with an SEC game. They've come to Starkville and built a 31-0 lead with 15 minutes to play. And Hennig is hammered. Dorsey, 8.5 sacks last year. NFL written all over him. And he got on number 7 in a hurry. Bull rush.
It's
Bull rush. I would say this would be just come get me. You know, you definitely don't want to leave 72 without somebody hitting him.
Woo! He actually ran a stunt there and looped around and came flying free.
You know, we talked about him playing Pee Wee football and he had to weigh in before games. You think Hennig's mother and dad wanted him to weigh in tonight?
I know they love their son. They may want their son to get rid of it.
They aren't in the same weight class, that's for sure.
Was it 7 for 72?
Hennig fires downfield. Well covered again. Against Chris Hawkins, that's the backup corner. Good job defending.
These LSU defenders are stride for stride with the receivers on every play. If Hennig if he makes a play, it's because he throws one up for grabs and gets an interference, or a receiver goes up and makes a great play for him. People are not open.
You know, LSU's DBs not really known for interceptions last year. In fact, the entire defense only had 16. They were very stout against the pass, but 5 tonight already. 16 all of last year. 3rd and 21. Hennig throwing way behind, crossing Aubrey Bell. Highsmith came after him again. And the crowd really starting to thin out. This is a bad sign. Up near 50,000, but it's pretty early. They have failed. They've seen this kind of offense, Craig, in recent years. They saw a home shutout to start last season.
I'm certain they haven't shown everything tonight. There's more to this playbook. Next week when they play at Tulane, the expectations by the Mississippi State fans are for them to go win that football game. They better come out.
Saving for the green flag.
I may want to burn this part of the playbook and go to another chapter.
I'll tell you what, that may turn into a must-win.
Dorsey and company will come after Hennig. It's 4th and 21. With some air under this throw, and that is Stouts with his 3rd interception of the night. Greg Stouts gets a blocker, weaving near midfield. He's got a chance. He'll bring it to the 45-yard line. A career night for the junior strong safety out of New Orleans. Greg Stouts, 3 picks.
The tight end is one-on-one on the backside corner route. It's the second time Hennig tried to go to it. The ball is just in the air too long, allows the defender to just close on a free safety, playing center field and go and get the ball.
Okay, now maybe you start thinking about taking Hennig out of the game. I mean, the guy's getting just pinballed, but he's just throwing the ball down the field. He's not throwing. He hasn't really thrown it to the receivers all night.
No, you've got to have a more efficient, controlled passing game and take your shots. It seems like right now he's looking down the field and forcing the issue up the field and putting that ball up for grabs.
Half dozen interceptions. Flynn still in the ball game. As one more time, LSU takes over in plus territory, tries to cash in, and they give the ball to the speedster Holiday. Holiday gets near the corner, picks up about 10 in a hurry.
Why is it in the first half when they did this with Holiday, the defensive team speed is getting there all the time? It's like all of a sudden, negative play after negative play happens, and your morale drops, and you're a step slower, and it just snowballs.
I'm not so certain that the guy wasn't over there. He just got he tracked him.
Track star?
Yeah.
I'll tell you, the morale of Hennig can't be too good. He's having a conversation. Woody McCorvey's the offensive coordinator, and the backup is warming up, and it is Wesley Carroll. The true freshman has a helmet on, and he's throwing on the sidelines as Hennig is taking his hat off with 13:02 to play.
I think he's kind of thankful to get out of this right now.
Holiday takes the pitch from Flynn. Got a man to beat. Pretty good one-on-one tackling job right there. You got a guy who runs a 10:02, and Tim Bailey, the backup linebacker, grabbed him.
They're making sure he gets his 10 touches, don't you think, right now? Late in the game. I'll tell you what, they want to get the ball in his hands to see if he can make some big plays for him.
Good job by Bailey to corral Holiday. He's fun to watch. The potential every time he gets it to flash at world-class speed. He's a hopeful for Beijing in the 100 meters, perhaps the relay as well. And LSU has made a switch. There is Ryan Perilou out of Texas, the sophomore, who takes over for Flynn. A little bit of a checkered recent history at LSU. He's on his last shot, as Miles said. He's a very good physical runner. He somersaults inside the 30. Fits you on the stop. You get a chance to see the talents of Perilou, who will come into ball games for design running plays this season.
Yeah, he's a very talented athlete, just having some problems getting it going here. Earlier, Titus Brown comes over, Michael Hennig, and says, look, don't worry about it, buddy. We're with you. It's a long season, tough night for you, great teammate. You know, that's a coach down the road. I mean, that's a guy that understands that there's a teammate of his feeling terrible.
That's leadership. That's taking control. That's leadership.
Perilou wants to show his leadership, fires to Doucette, and catches it in traffic as a first down at the 23. Perilou was the guy who initially committed to Texas, and then Les Miles was able to woo him to LSU, really kind of the first big recruit of the Miles era, but he's a guy that's now on the kind of the zero tolerance policy. Some off-the-field issues, some investigations, never really charged with anything, but some investigations involving casino in Louisiana. So as Flynn watches, Perilou gets his chance to direct the offense in the opener. Hands off to Holiday. Just able to wriggle through a crack there, and he gets 7 yards before O'Neal stops him. High fives, he's hard to find in there.
He doesn't need much, and he can hide behind an offensive lineman and make that quick. He's fun to watch.
Wasn't Quentin Griffin at Oklahoma about a 5'5" guy?
Was he that short?
Griffin was stockier, though, and nowhere near as fast as Holiday.
Again, he's the fastest guy in college football, one of the fastest collegians, period, second in the NCAA. This is Richard Murphy. He's a true freshman back. He's got a first down near the 10. Talent is pretty impressive on LSU, isn't it?
It's the athletes that come in and fill in. You know, you're letting your backups get some playing time here and step in, but the athleticism. Perilou with his first run, how aggressive he was and how physical he was running the ball.
Yeah, people are looking in, guys. They see an offense that still just getting to 300 yards. Yes, they have the 6 interceptions, but they want to see, you know, is this team right there with USC as a preseason pick for the national title game?
But at the end of the year, Chris, they'll look back and they'll see the score as the voters I'm talking about, and they won't really remember that it was as close as maybe as it seemed.
Richard Murphy stopped down near the 5. You know, history says if you're going to get LSU, you got to get them in September. They've had a September loss every year since '99, except for 1 year, and that was the co-national championship year under Nick Saban. But 15-0 in November under Miles, so they get better as the season goes on. They always take on a heavyweight early in the season. That's part of it. But they've struggled against some lesser opponents traditionally in September. A big test next week from the Hokies, Tiger Stadium. Perilou, design run as a flag falls. He stopped at the 5.
And to follow up on that point, it's a new offense for them. It's a new quarterback as your starter. They will improve week after week and get more comfortable, find themselves as an offense of exactly what they do well, and they will get better.
Substitution penalty on the Bulldogs. You can see it'll get a lot tougher. Xavier Debe, Vince Hall, the Hokie linebackers are as good as there are. Saturday, 9:15 Eastern time game. Mississippi State will visit Tulane. It's highlight on both of those games. It's the second anniversary this week of Hurricane Katrina, so obvious poignance with the game against Tulane in the Superdome, and LSU, which was so involved in the devastation of Katrina a couple of years ago against, obviously, Virginia Tech, which is playing for a bigger cause as well this season.
Well, that Tulane game is on that list of one of those must wins for Mississippi State in order to just get 4 this season.
On second down now, Perilou has a bunch of receivers to work with, and it's another design run at Perilou into the end zone for a touchdown. They spread the field, and they let the quick, strong runner find Pater. And that score, however it looks when the voters think about LSU, perhaps down the lines, get more impressive.
It will. I mean, you know what I'm talking about. We'll all look at back, week 8. They beat Mississippi State 38, 40-something to nothing.
We'll talk about this guy, Doug. There's a look at Michael Hennig. 6 interceptions. Huge factor, obviously, in the score on the board right now. Colt David. High snap handled by Flynn. It is 38-0. They're going to have to try to rebuild the confidence of the only quarterback on the roster with any experience at all. Whew, it has been a tough one. Sweat and tears for Hennig. A deflator for the home folks. Good first step for the LSU faithful and what they hope will be a run to the national championship game, which will rotate down to the Superdome in New Orleans this year. And of course, it was in that building where LSU beat Oklahoma, earned the BCS championship, title that they split that year.
They had some speed that year, didn't they, on defense?
Yes, they did.
Ooh, Daddy-o, that was a defense.
Yeah, Oklahoma was smothered. Deflated pretty early there. The new kickoff man is Andrew Crutchfield. And he boots it to Eric Riley. Haven't really seen great field position. The rule change tonight has not really come into play, and the coverage teams, mostly for LSU, because they're kicking off a whole lot more than Mississippi State's guys. They've flown down the field, and we talked about those terrible days 2 years ago this week. It was 2 years ago today, the aftermath, the horrible events, the folks stranded. And Aaron, LSU players prominent in donating and trying to help whatever way they could 2 years ago.
Absolutely, and several of the players that I spoke with today said it's so difficult to go through a season opener and not think about those memories with Hurricane Katrina. Remember, of course, LSU season opener was moved from Tiger Stadium out to Arizona State, and I talked to a lot of the guys about what the kids from Virginia Tech, the players, will be going through, and they said, you know, it is a lot of pressure because you know that the community is looking towards you to lift them up, but at the same time, it's the best way for the community to get back to normalcy.
Yeah, Aaron, certainly different circumstances, but similar emotions. The idea of playing for a bigger cause. Congratulations from Matt Flynn. He's going to his offensive lineman. They did a pretty good job in the opening night against a pretty physical defense. And for Mississippi State, we're seeing the debut of Wesley Carroll. Now, the Bulldog coaches were joking, saying, well, we hope you don't see number 13 because he's really not quite ready for this. He's a pretty advanced true freshman, but a guy who he came in June. He was not here in spring ball as so many freshmen do these days. Came in June, worked in the summer, ran a passing offense at St. Thomas Aquinas in Florida, but it is tough going against this defense, and we'll talk about this guy and what this might mean down the road for Mississippi State with Henning's bruised confidence as we come back to Starkville. The eternal flame here at Mississippi State. The flame of hope in the 2007 season perhaps flickering. It's been a beatdown in the opener as now the quarterback of the future is thrown in there tonight. Wesley Carroll, the true freshman, connects there to Jeremy Jones. Talented kid, Doug, but wow, what an assignment for this young guy right now.
Going up against LSU's defense, he did run the same style offense in high school. The terminology is different. A lot of the routes are similar. So he's picked this up better than any freshman ever has.
He's got the backups against him, but the backups are still pretty good for LSU.
They're all great athletes.
He would say yes, sir, to most of the people across the line of scrimmage.
Now, in his first series as a collegian, he's got 3rd and 10. Carroll rolls out, fires. He gets it there. It's complete. Lance Long with the catch. The ball got there just before the defenders, a 12-yard gain. Joined on the sidelines by the former coach here at Mississippi State for 13 years. Jackie Sherrill took the Bulldogs to their last bowl game in 2000. Jackie, I know this was a season of great optimism for Sylvester Croom. You live up in Memphis, but obviously you keep a close eye on things. What about your evaluation of the opener?
Well, earlier I thought the defensive team played well enough to make things happen. I was impressed with the speed and some plays that the defense made, but you know, like Doug can tell you, you can't throw that many interceptions. And it looked like after the 3rd interception, Henning started pressing more. Instead of throwing catchable balls, he was just throwing the ball really too hard, just trying to make something happen.
What would you say to a quarterback trying to recover from an opener when he had 6 interceptions and you still got 11 more games to go? What kind of counsel would you give Henning?
You take that film and burn it. You know, you don't show it. I mean, and Doug as a quarterback, and of course, you know, Craig James is up there laughing because he got ready just to run the football instead of having to catch it.
Hey, Coach. Hey, how are you? But you know what? This is a football team that's shown a lot of grit. It looks like they're still playing hard.
They are, and that's what I'm saying. Defensively, I like their speed. Now, offensively, their linemen look that they can move their feet. They're going to win some games. They're just going to have to, you know, change a little bit offensively. I would have run Dixon until he couldn't run anymore. I'd just keep the game short and just let him make things happen because he's a talented player.
Oh, he certainly is, Coach. You were giving Doug a hard time. Jackie Sherrill's debut at A&M was ruined by you when you went down to Boston College and beat him.
Coach Jack, now we had a passing offense at Boston College at the time. We went down to a Southwest Conference that runs a lot of options. We had a little edge in the passing game.
No, you had more than the edge. I mean, I still don't like you. I can tell you that. I mean, I like you, but I don't like what you did to me.
And I'm glad that we had a chance at SMU to get going early before you turned it around at A&M.
And you know, that's a funny – that game we played in '82 when y'all were really good, Craig. right before the game, I met Collins at half field, and we're talking, and he started moaning and groaning, and I said, Collins, I'll swap T-shirts or jerseys with you real quick, and I'll go on your side. You come on my side. He got mad and left. He didn't want to hear it anymore.
Now you saw the fumbled snap by Carroll. It's another turnover by Mississippi State. Ball collected by Woods. And LSU will get it at the 36. We talked about Sylvester Croom, 9 wins in 3 years, Jackie. What's enough this year? How much time will he be given by the faithful down here?
Well, he's done a great job of trying to keep the momentum going and rebuilding. But you know and I know in this profession, it's W's and L's. And, 4 years, that's what you're going to be judged on. And it wears you down as a head coach, I can tell you. And he's not having any fun.
Jackie, we appreciate your time. It was fun having you with us. Take care.
Thank you.
Thanks, Coach.
Saw Richard Murphy with the carry for LSU as they give the true freshman some touches. He came into the season saying he wanted to have fun. He'd had to been kind of a busting skulls with guys who needed to understand what he wanted from them. He said this year, they've gotten the message. Croom says he didn't have to wait for those phone calls overnight. He feels better about that aspect, but this isn't fun tonight. Jackie's right.
We heard him talking about trust and respect from his players. And Sly will watch the film, and he'll want to see if his players hustled and played hard throughout the game. And if they did that, he can keep building. In his mind, he's got a football team that with character, and the players want to get better.
We saw Gabe O'Neill, their starting strong side linebacker, walk off. Parallel fires, and it's caught for a touchdown by Brandon LaFell. They had single coverage down there, and the backup quarterback for the Tigers throws a touchdown pass of 15 yards.
Going into this, you didn't expect Mississippi State to win the game, but at least compete and show improvement. Here, he settles his feet, misses the receiver, walks by him for a touchdown. These things can't happen. I mean, they're scoring. LSU is scoring too fast, too easy now. The question is, do they get rid of this film and burn it and come back next week with the same enthusiasm they opened this game with?
Well, he said this game, win or lose, and knew it was more likely going to be a loss, would not define the season, would not get him down. These folks have seen this before, though. Is it yet another shutout in an SEC game? It would be the 5th time in the last 17 conference games if they can't get some points here. LSU rolling now. Parallel, the backup. This is a stat sheet stuffer now in the fourth quarter, 45. Called on to the front of the class.
I just want to explain to Pony here that was a lecture hall, and all those kids were students in class. I don't know if they did that every day.
Dang, I was wondering where you were. I thought you were maybe at the movie house.
Eric Riley loses his hat, gets nailed. That LSU coverage team. So every week a different campus, a different class,
a different message.
I think we're fading that way, aren't we? It was fun. It was fun to interact with some of the students, be on campus, feel the electricity around campus, how excited they were about this game tonight, and be a part of it.
Did you feel your age? Because they had no idea who you were, didn't most of those kids.
I was not the oldest guy in the class, though. I was not. We had a gray hair over on the left, and he and I tell you, we bonded. We bonded big time.
Well, that was a leadership class, right?
Yes.
Well, leadership is what's going to be needed, I think, for Mississippi State to try to hold things together. It's humbling, boy. They really believed. They did believe. I know you might laugh and say, yeah, they had no chance coming in, but these guys did believe that this year was going to be different.
This week is where leadership has to come into play. This week in practice, nobody pointing fingers, nobody making excuses. We got beat, put it behind us, move on, get to work on Tulane, and look forward to a good season.
What do those guys want to see from Hennig? Because he seemed to be kind of a little agitated, looking around at others who might have been to blame for the 6 interceptions.
One thing about Hennig is that he's had to overcome adversity with his broken collarbones.
Right.
So this man has had to deal with adversity before. He's got a great deal in front of him. He just show up Monday morning ready to go to work.
In the meantime, the true freshman Carroll is pursued and sacked. And it's the defensive backups. That's Lazaria Livingston, a freshman defensive end. Those guys are piling up stats too now.
You know what? A little bit, Dr. Flutie, let me show you something here. And, your guy Holiday, Now, you tell me about size on the sideline. Huh? That's hanging with the right big tree trunk.
Hey, hang out with the big fellas. You know what happens? You're around guys that are so much bigger and you start to believe you're about 6'1". So when you bump into somebody that's only 6 foot, you think you're looking them in the eye.
Stewart is a foot taller than him. Although I don't know if he should be laughing. Stewart, he's one of the key guys we're looking at tonight. He struggled the right tackle for LSU.
Yeah, but Holiday's got his helmet popped up to look about 5 or 6 inches taller.
Oh, is that the secret, huh? Is that the secret you learned? Oh, the lessons continue. It'll be one of the showcase games next week. These LSU Tigers will have the white home jerseys on when Virginia Tech Hokies come calling, and this LSU defense, which has converted the 7 takeaways into 38 points, will take on a better offense in Virginia Tech. But I'll tell you what, Sean Glennon, we're worried about the opener on Saturday, but it's a sobering thought facing this LSU defense. True freshman Carroll gets it out.
You know, we talk about the offense for LSU taking a while to gel, and the numbers aren't quite where we thought they might be. But part of that is working on the short field. There's not a lot of field before you bump into the end zone, so you don't rack up a lot of yards. This defense has turned the ball over to them consistently.
They force another punt.
Well, statistics, you know, as we look overall of the season, a game like this statistically is going to help the average throughout the course of the season to make that LSU defense really look good.
Well, they did not have a sack in the first half, 4 in the second half for 37 yards, which means that State has net 1 rushing yard. A very short, ugly kick off the side of the foot rolls out of bounds in Bulldog territory. Wrangler player of the game, pretty easy choice, representing that LSU defense. Craig Stelz with 3 interceptions, go along with the 4 that he had last year.
See, the amazing thing is there's a lot of great athletes over there on defense, but when you get an opportunity to intercept the pass, you catch it, that's a bonus. They drop a lot of them, and he made sure every time he had the opportunity to go get the ball, he got it.
What does Stelz get? A pair of Wranglers for this? Is it player of the game? Maybe you share a leg with the quarterback?
He comes out to the ranch with you.
Come on, I got a lot of cows need working. A lot of hay to sell, too.
Look, he's worried about his nails, all right? It's that kind of a day. He's got the long locks flowing. He's worried about his nails.
Now Paraloo hands it off to Richard Murphy. And it's the backups for LSU getting an opportunity here in the second half. What about that game with the Hokies? We haven't had a look at Virginia Tech, and we'll see them on Saturday against East Carolina in a very special game. But folks at Virginia Tech, no, it'll be a tough game, but I think the Hokie people also believe that Tech, an inspired team, is capable of winning in Baton Rouge.
Capable. They've had a lot of success coming to the state of Louisiana. I mean, this team has traveled down. They do all right down here playing. Talented team. A lot of emotions like you're talking about. If Glennon can handle it, they can score points.
Murphy. Short game. Final 3 minutes to be followed by SportsCenter. SportsCenter, sir, is next.
You know, think back to the first half of this game. LSU was in Mississippi State territory 5 of 7 possessions and had 1 field goal and 1 touchdown until the very last play of the first half.
The effective touchdown drive to begin the second half really set the tone.
Yep.
And also that touchdown at 0-0 on the clock in the first half was a real deflator for the Bulldogs.
After that touchdown, they came out in the second half, LSU did, and looked a lot more relaxed, a lot more comfortable.
They're relaxed right now. Mr. Dorsey, now Craig, this is only the opening statement. A long way to go. They're going to face better teams. LSU, do they run the table? Do they play the championship game? You guys are not on record for a BCS pick yet.
You know what? I thought LSU would lose the game somewhere along the line this season.
Yes.
So, and I feel a lot more comfortable with that thought. They'll lose the game somewhere.
After this, you feel more confident than before they'll lose.
Yeah, I do.
Well, that game at Alabama, November 3rd, Nick Saban, there's going to be a lot going into that ball game, and that will probably be their toughest road game.
That definitely be their toughest road game. That's the only real road challenge. They've got some tough teams coming to Tiger Stadium. Reese, let's check with you.
And you know what? When you look, we've looked at the schedule here. You talk about LSU, that little sandwich game they have. Florida at home, then at Kentucky, and then Auburn at home. You know, there's just a lot of chances for them to stumble along the way.
Well, yeah, it's the SEC. You're saying Kentucky is a dangerous sandwich game on the road?
Hey, wait a minute, young man. Don't say
he saying it?
Is that what you're saying?
Is he saying there's a chance? Is he saying there's a chance?
Yeah, one in a million stuff.
Yeah,
but you know
I
what?
thought you said Kentucky was a dangerous game.
They are a dangerous game. That's one of those games that you have to circle because there's a lot of focus on Florida and Auburn, and in between sandwiched with a bunch of
You got to circle all these games, though. There.
But you're with me. Do you think LSU, do you believe, Chris, LSU, do you think LSU loses this year somewhere?
Yeah.
Okay. Doug?
I think so.
I
think so. They play those.
I'm asking.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. They have those 3 SEC games before that game in Alabama, and there's a tough road there. I mean, you're going to get banged up over the course of it.
Championship game in the SEC.
You got to reload again as well. I mean, somewhere along the line, you're going to get nicked up and beaten. You know, and after watching them tonight, the offensive line, I guarantee you, they're going to go back on the right guard, right tackle, inexperienced. They had some good plays. But all in all, this team has some spots where they're not just dominant.
How did Flynn look to you? We know that Les Miles was happy with his performance. Kind of efficient, but unspectacular.
I liked what I saw in the second half. He really seemed to settle down and just let the game come to him, looked relaxed. First half looked a little sped up, but overall, I think he played well.
And I'll tell you something else that I look forward to seeing. When Gary Croton goes out and really opens his offense up, because Croton really is magical with his mind offensively. He will open it up and expand beyond I formation.
And you believe, I mean, they've got 45 points on the board, and you honestly believe they held back tonight.
Offensively, sure they did.
Right,
Absolutely.
they were very basic.
They were very vanilla tonight. And Virginia Tech is sitting at home wishing they'd had a chance to study some of this stuff.
You get 45 points, but it's off of only 347 yards because of the 7 takeaways. Mississippi State begins 07 the way they began 06. Shut out at home by a good SEC team. And looking for reasons to believe that this season will be better. We know it's going to be a good season for LSU. Just how good? How much better can Matt Flynn get? 45-0 is the final. As LSU, hey, we're not going to drop in the polls, I promise you.
Nope, they won't. I'll keep them up there.
All right, for Aaron Andrews and Craig and Doug, I'm Chris Fowler. Thanks for joining us. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com. Stu Scott, Scott Van Pelt up next with SportsCenter. A shutout for the Bayou Bengals in Starkville.